Kind math friend, precious Father in heaven, your name be honored and glorified, O Lord Father. We thank you for the gift of life and wisdom. O Lord Father, as we are going to study, may you send your holy mighty angels to come into our midst, guide our teacher. May he disappear and you appear, O Lord Father. Come and be with us so that we can understand each and everything they are going to teach us. In Jesus' name I've prayed.
Amen. Thank you so much, Queen Dola, for the word of prayer. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Today, we are going to continue with our chapter 3, which is methodology. This chapter adds on what we covered in Senior 5, Term 3. In Senior 5, Term 3, in your general paper, you looked at data collection and analysis. Now, all the knowledge you acquired in Term 3 is applied in this particular chapter or section. So that is where we are going to link up. So last time, I looked at what the methodology is all about. I took you through what we call research design, how you select a study population, how you get a sample size, the different sampling technique. We looked at the sources of data, primary and secondary data. We looked at data collection methods. And by the time we ended the session, we had started on what we call research instruments. And I was able to take you through one of the research instruments. And today, we are going to start from the research instruments, and then we shall go on up to the last bit of it. And once we finish everything in black, we shall be done now with this particular section of methodology. Now, what did we look at under research instruments? We say that research instruments refers to those tools that you use to obtain data from the community. Whatever thing you are going to do, we must always have the data to use, because at this time, or the level you have reached on, you must be able to make decisions basing on data, not just basing on your opinions, basing on feelings, but you must have evidence of something you want to propose, something you are coming up with data. Now, those tools we use to gather data are what we call the research instruments. So one of the research instruments we use in research is the questionnaire form. So we went through how to design a questionnaire form, and today we are going to look at the other two tools, what we call the interview guide and what we call the observational checklist. Those are the two things we are going to look at under the research instruments. So whenever you are coming up with your research plan, you are coming up with your proposal, you need to look at how are you going to acquire data from society. If you go to this community, how are you planning to get this data from the members? Are you going to interview the chairman? Are you going to interview the head teacher, or whatever person you have found on ground? Now, that is the approach we are going to be looking at. Now, when they talk about an interview guide means a structured tool that helps the researchers to collect information, but in detail. This is where you want to get something in detail. Now, whenever you are using this interview guide, one of the best thing with it is that it will help you to stay focused on within the objectives that you set yourself to. Now, number two, the interview guide guides you further to get or to collect detailed responses. There are some things you have been hearing about. There are some things that you may have some information about. Like sometimes when they talk about certain schools, that you know what, at this school, this is what is happening and the rest of that. Sometimes you may just based on hearsay, but when you go to the actual ground, you'll find that after interacting with those people on the ground, they will be able to tell you different things. But when we come into interview guide, interview responses help to supplement on your qualitative data. Remember, we have basically two types of data, what we call the qualitative and the quantitative. Quantitative are the digits, are the numbers. Then qualitative refer to the words that describe something. Now, under the interview guide, you are able to get that description. You are able to get a detailed response. Someone is able to give you something in depth, such that you can be able to understand the problem from the grassroots. So that is the one of the main purposes why we conduct interview guides. Now, how should a good interview guide look like? Number one, a good interview should be clear and simple. Whenever you're setting up these questions to use in the interview guide, you need to set up simple questions. You need to use simple language. The questions must be clear. Otherwise, if we use those complicated things, the people who are going to be responding back, they will be giving you vague answers that will not respond back to the intention or to what you are aiming to achieve at the end of the day. Whatever question you are going to come up with must match with your research questions and the objectives you have. Before you start going to the field, you must have clear research questions. It can be one, they can be two or three. But whatever question you are coming up with, it should be in position to respond back to one of the research questions you had at the beginning. If your research question was about how do drugs enter into schools? If that was your research question, then it means that in one of the interview questions you are setting yourself to have, you must be in position to have some of those things embedded within the question, such that the person who's going to respond must give you detailed response, because you'll find that sometimes the children or the teachers on ground or people on the ground have hidden information that they can express themselves when you ask them verbally. Take an example. You know that sometimes children bring out maybe those drugs, the substances, maybe in some of these grab things they bring at school. Sometimes they bring them in flasks and otherwise. So such helps you to understand something at depth. In case you have gone to the hospital, you may want to know something at depth. But when you have that verbal thing, it may help you to understand something at depth. So whatever research question whatever interview guide question that we are going to come up with, it must be in line with your objective, with the research questions that you came up with, but also let them be organized. So the flow, the coherency, how your questions are flowing must move from the first objective to the second objective to the third objective. So we need you to have these questions flow in a clear way, not for you to bring out the first one, then the second one is not matching. So you need to have that coherency. The questions must flow coherently from the first objective to the second to the third, or from the first research question to the second to the third that you have come up with, such that anything that these people are going to give you must be in line with what you are planning to respond to or to put in your data. So we have basically two types of questions when we are asking. We have what we call closed questions. Sometimes when you ask someone a question, there are some answers they give you, yes or no. There are some questions you ask someone, like take an example. If I may ask you, how did you perform in your end of term? Someone will say good or bad. I will say fair. That is the response. So when you ask someone like that, it means that you are asking them a closed question. That question is closed. So someone, when he's giving you a response, he will give you a response that is limited. But if you ask the person, how did you perform at the end of the term, then the person is supposed to give you something in detail. Someone will respond to you back in detail. So when we are asking questions, we have questions that are closed, but any question that is closed is suitable for a questionnaire, not an interview guide. Such a question such as, do learners receive counseling services? That question is a closed. It just requires yes or no. So closed questions just confirm facts. You just want to confirm something is really happening on the ground. Does your school have this and this? Yes or no? Now those are closed questions. They give easy answers, but they are not able to give you something in details. Now when we are setting up these interview questions, we must be able to set out questions that are open-ended. Open-ended go deeper. Open-ended questions foster deeper insights and conversations. In other words, these questions that are open-ended, they are able to explore in details the ideas. You are able to tap into someone's experience once you ask a question that is open-ended. At the start of these sessions, I told that methodology is all about how something is done. Now, whenever you're asking open-ended questions, we shall emphasize the how of something, such that you can be able to get something in detail, such that someone can pour all the information he or she has. Therefore, in open-ended questions, someone is in position to give you something in details. Someone is able to share with you whatever insights he or she may have about a topic of discussion. Now, whenever we are setting up these questions, please make sure that the questions you are coming up with to foster for the interview are open-ended questions. I'm going to encourage that avoid closed-ended questions. Closed-ended questions are good for questionnaires, the first research instrument we looked at, but now as we dig deep into what we call data collection approaches for interviews, then we shall encourage that let's not limit responses that people give us by asking closed-ended question, but let us leave the boundary open such that someone can give us whatever thing he or she has in detail. So questions such as how does this, so that one is an open-ended question. But questions that require yes or no, that limit responses, will drive someone onto reasoning using feelings instead of using his cognitive what? Abilities. So we need to be very careful the kind of questions. Now here I've showed you an example of what we call good interview and what we call poor interview questions. Anything you see in red shows you that that is bad. That one shows you a big no. That please, as you are coming up with the questions you are going to use for interviewing people, such that you get more opinions, such that you get more of what people have, then you need to have questions that are going to prompt someone to think and to be able to give you something in details. So these are some of the samples for what we call a good interview. And I want you to take note that whatever question I have asked here or whatever sample you are noticing here, it will require someone to go on and explain something. So, but if you just tell someone is it good or bad, someone will say yes or no. So those questions, we need always to avoid them such that we can be able to get these details. So whenever someone gives you something in details, you are in position to supplement your data that you are going to come up with. Remember, you are going to use your questionnaire. You are going to use these questionnaires. You are going to use different approaches such that you can be able to get more information to supplement the other quantitative data you are getting. In case you have gone into this particular environment, you have gathered information for 40 people, for 50 people. You are going to get the quantitative, the numbers that 40% of the ladies in this community are educated. 60% of men are this and this. Now that data should be explained. Like when you reach that point of analysis, you must be able to explain that quantitative data you obtain from the environment. So some of the responses you are going to acquire from this side of the qualitative bit, from the interviews, will help you to supplement that. But like if you go to a community and you find out that 40% of children are not going to school, but why? Then you know that maybe in this community, during the interview, the chairman will tell you, here we have a lot of early marriages, we have this and the other. Now, in your explanation about the 40%, why the school dropout is big in this community, then you'll be able to explain that because of early marriages, very few or many children are not in position to join school because in the process this and this happens. Now that is the backup. So interview is going to give you a backup on what from the field such that people can be able to understand your research at depth. So that is what we need to look out. Now, whatever question that will prompt someone to use emotions, to use feelings, you need always to avoid it. questions that require someone, like sometimes I know at our schools or sometimes as adults or teachers, sometimes they may ask you questions and you feel the teacher is as if he's attacking you or someone is what? Attacking you. Yes. So the questions, let me give you an example. Sometimes a teacher, when some or anyone, in case maybe someone is annoyed, you may ask a question, maybe, are you stupid? Let me use that question. Are you stupid? Has this teacher seen me as someone who is stupid, someone who doesn't have sense, someone who is not understanding? Most if something is, if you have failed to get something, or if a teacher has explained something and you are not understanding, sometimes they may question you, are you really stupid? So like such questions, they may bring out some emotions in someone. So a child or a person you are interviewing may start responding to you using emotions. And whenever you use emotions when you are responding to someone, it means that you are going to give biased answers. You are judging someone. So it is always better that we avoid such questions that may involve someone to give you responses that are biased. Even if you have heard something about a given community, make sure that as you set it up in your questionnaire, you bring it in a neutral way. So don't avoid those biased statements that may affect the final response that someone may give you. Because at the end of the day, this person, as long as someone's mind changes, depending on their going to be getting are going to be biased, meaning that now the data you are going to collect from the field is not going to be good. Yeah. So, and also you need to look at the level. Yeah. You need to look at the people you are asking. You need to ask that in case I'm asking a child who is maybe in senior 4, senior 5, there are some questions this person can fit in. And it depends on the age because some adults may understand depending on how you have questioned or how you have posed the question. Those adults may understand, say, okay, this and this is okay. Then in case you are asking children, like maybe things concerning the school and community and the rest of that, sometimes they may be a bit more biased. So make sure that the people you're asking the questions, and then also you need to be able to judge that this person, in case I'm asking this question is fit for an adult because he will give his opinions without putting what feelings. In case I'm asking posing question to the children, this question would be okay because these children sometimes have mood swings, so this one can happen, but this one can be fit for an adult. And if you feel that there is any question that may invite a lot of emotions in response, then better you put it in the questionnaire. Then in case you want more response, then you need to look out for the best person that can respond back to that item without being very biased towards it. So that is basically what you have to do when it comes to the kind of questions that we pose to the people that we are going to be interviewing. Okay, now, as I have already told you that whenever we are asking, we have what called the magic W's, but always use or try to use what we call the how, not the why. Why questions limit responses. Why questions do not exhaust many of the things, but how? Because the intention for doing this particular research or for whatever thing you want someone to respond back to your question. You want answers to what you are trying to find out in the field. Now, if you are to find out answers, then you need to ask how. So the how helps to find the solutions to the questions, but the why just poses more problems. The why is the problem. you are trying to find out. The how is the solution. That if this school or if this particular community members are doing badly in science, how can we go, how can we solve this problem? That maybe we need to improve in the infrastructure facilities, we need to improve, maybe to employ more manpower, we need to have more trainings. So you are trying how solves the problem, but why may pose more problems. So when you are posing your questions, always let's try to use the how, because methodology is about the how. How are you going to obtain this? How are you going to solve this? Because remember, at the end of that day, the intention of doing this particular project is that you want to solve a given problem within society. It's not about why is this happening, but how can we solve it? Because the whys are many every time, because you have asked yourself, like take an example, many times when we get our reports after the end of the term, many of the questions we ask ourselves is, why did I fail this? Instead of asking ourselves, how can I now go from what I have to this? Because it is the how that is going to support you, not the why. Because it has already happened. You maybe things have not come out well the way you expected. So why did this thing happen? That is okay, because that one limits you. But how is the solution to the problem? So in case you received your end of term report, you have received any feedback, now concentrate on how. How are you going to solve this problem? In case math is not working out, how are you going to solve? How is the most important thing for your research. That maybe what I'm going to do, I'm going to be doing one number every day. Two, I'm going to be changing my attitude. But if you start concentrating on why did I fail? Because I was not reading, because I never paid attention in class, because I did this and this. At the end of the day, you are instead putting a lot of negative thoughts in your mind, and and your brain will concentrate on that, because what you feed your brain is what you get most. So that's why it is important we concentrate on the how more than on the why. Though I know for some few questions you may find yourself asking the why, but always let's look at the how. How is this school working towards improving this? How is the hospital? How is the community? How is the government working towards improving people's what? Welfare. Now that is what is very important. Now, what are those steps that we are going to take when we are developing our interview guide? Now, in your first chapter or the first section, you had what we call the objectives. There are some things you intended to achieve at the end of the study. Then from there, you went on and developed questions. And now you want responses to those questions. Now, whatever question, let me say you came up with 3 objectives. Now, in case you came up with 3 objectives, you came up with 3 research questions. Now, what does it mean? Now, after coming up with the objectives, you came up with your questions. Now, it is from these questions now that we are going to start developing our interview guide. Now, what are we going to have in our interview guide? It means that you are going to say that I have my IV. You are going to have questions about your IV. You are going to have questions that are going to respond to your DV, that is the dependent variable, and also you are going to have the possible solution. Because sometimes schools or communities already have some solutions they are thinking about. Now we need the data to check out whether what they are thinking about can be very good. But also in our writing, we need always to have suitable language for respondents. Take an example. In case you are to conduct your interview in the community setting, then we expect that the language you are going to use is going to be the language suitable for those people. You are talking to the people in the market because you want to find out some information, maybe about their savings and the rest of that. You may find that for those people to communicate well, that maybe they need to use their local what? Language. So we expect that now you're going to have your questionnaire converted or translated into their local language. Then the language we use here, since we are colonized by the British and the rest of that, it should be that kind of English that you use, and avoid using complicated language, using those big vocabularies such that people now know that this person has reached senior 6. Using big words doesn't show that you are educated. No, and it doesn't mean you are communicating. So in order for you to communicate, both sides must be able to understand what you are saying. So when you go to the community, you must humble yourself that the language you use can be understood by the community members. In case there is any word that maybe they not understand, then you have to break it, you have to decompose, break it such that they can be able to understand. Then we have talked about the logical flow of the questions, that the questions you have set out, let them flow logically, that this one leads to the other, this one leads to the other. Let them be in the order of how you have your research questions stated, and they can be probing questions. Yeah, yes. So this is the guide, and I'm going to be showing you a sample on how we are going to come up with our interview guide. But one of the uses or why these interview guides are very good, one of them is that you are able to get detailed information. Detailed information is always good. Yeah, many times, sometimes we judge people, but without getting the context, without getting detailed information. Recently, I think some few days, some schools came back home, others received reports, but I saw some parents, once they looked at the kid's report, they judged the kid. They said, this kid has failed. This kid has disappointed me, because they looked at the marks firsthand without even looking at the comments the teacher had made. But inside the comment, there is a comment that the teacher had put, but the comment was explaining why the child got that particular mark, but the parent did not pay attention to it. So that's why when we have this interview guide, we are able to get something in detail, such that we do not judge someone basing on our sight or our short-sightedness, but we base on the information we have got. If you hear any information now at the level where you have reached at senior 6, we expect you that now, if you hear any information, let me say, I know some days you hear stories that this school does this school is this school is this. We do not always make conclusion based on hearsay, but we always need to have the data. We need to have detailed information that particular community. If you don't have, then you do not judge or you do not conclude, but you just say it is happening here and there. That shows that you have reached a given level and your reasoning is being shaped by the curriculum. So one of the advantages, we shall say that you will get detailed information. So you will stop looking or basing on the hearsay, and also it allows clarification. Whenever you get an interview, whenever you interact with this person, you are in position to get clarification on some of the things you have just been hearing, some of the things that may not have been clear to you, but also it provides that interaction and even the kind of friendship, the communication, the collaboration. So you are able even to interact to get even more skills in the end of the day. But also you are able to capture the feelings and experiences depending on the research questions you are handling. There are some areas where you need to capture people's this is how someone, because you may have a question that involves someone to express his or her feelings, and by doing so you can be in position to see what is really happening. So these are some of the advantages of the interview guide, but also it has disadvantages. One of the disadvantages is that it is time consuming. I want to let you know interviewing will take your time. Take an example. If you are to interview just 10 people, you may find that you need about 2 to 3 weeks to have that successful, because the first thing you're going to do, you're going to first let these people know about it. Then you'll go, remember you have 10 in different communities or in the same community. You'll find that Each of the people you are going to interview will need about 10 to 15. In fact, 10 minutes is not possible. 15 minutes. You have to first introduce yourself. You have to first create that rapport, like that kind of interaction before you dig into the question. So you may find that you need a lot of what? Of time. That's why I keep saying that make sure that by the time you go back at school in second term, you have finished many of the things you need, such that when the opportunity avails, the school has allowed you to go and collect data such that you do not waste more time. But if you keep on doing things, waiting for things to work out, then you may find yourself that it will take you more time. But it is also expensive. Getting some people for an interview, sometimes it's not so easy. Sometimes they expensive. It may not be in terms of only money and resources required, but remember, an interview guide, you need also to print what you are going to use, because if you are going to approach someone for an interview, even you need to give them a heads up before you go in for those interviews. Like many times, I know you watch shows on different TVs and the rest, but before you go in for any interview, that team must first send for you some head ups that we want. Maybe we are inviting you for a talk show. These are the things we want to discuss with you. Yeah, so that means that the person must prepare in that line. So as someone who is going to go there to be interviewed, it means that there is a lot of things you also need to do. So expensive in terms of resources to use. Your time is also going to be taken. You'll find yourself, you need to print, you need to prepare, you need to travel, and you have to schedule. So it is a bit more expensive. But sometimes also we get biased responses depending on the person you are interviewing, but also it depends on the interviewer, because sometimes also we are very emotional. More so if you are so passionate about this particular topic, you find yourself that when you are posing a question, you really bring it out and you show your emotions. But also when the population is big, we are not in position to be effective. So that's why we always say that if you have got your sample population, the study population, you may not interview all the 120. You may not be in position, but just pick a few. That if you are saying I want more detailed information, get a few of them such that you can be able to get. That's why you see that interviews, when you look at people they interview on media and the rest, they cannot interview all of you. Much as you may have information that is valid, you may not, but they get just a sample to give the information. So these are some of the advantages. And why am I giving you these disadvantages? We are going to be writing a reflective journal. Now, in your reflective journal, that's where you're going to include some of these challenges. That during the interviewing session, it was expensive. I had to print. I had this and this. So those are some of the things you'll need during that process. You need to buy some water. You may find yourself that you need even to get a good uniform. You must be very presentable. So all those things make interviewing very expensive. Now, we have what we call ethical considerations. Now, as you go to interview someone, you need to seek consent from the person you're going to interview. Number two, you must respect and keep confidential information. That's why I told you earlier on during the referencing that if someone has okayed you to use him as a reference in your write-up, then you'll always have that person's name put in italic. You say head teacher, so head teacher, even you can mention the name and then you put in these double quotes, but in italic form. Because not everyone you are going to interview will be happy to use his information anyhow. So you need to respect confidentiality. So whatever thing you're going to do, respect. In case someone says, I'm not happy with taking a video, with recording, then you just respect the person and say, okay, it is well, let me just we do the write-up. Because during the interviews, it is okay for you to take an audio or to record the video as long as someone has okayed. But in case someone says, no, please, I'm just giving you a verbal one, don't record, Okay, sorry about that. I'm back. So I was saying that you need to respect confidentiality of the person. In case the person has said, please do not do this, don't take my photo. There are people who are not even who cannot even have their photos on, and they will say, please don't take even a photo. Even if you have gone to a school, sometimes youths are very excited. They have just reached somewhere, they start taking photos anyhow. Please first seek permission to take what? A photo. Otherwise, they will what? They can sue you because you do not have permission. Even like someone taking your photo without their acceptance. It is really very bad. And as you keep on growing, avoid taking photos anyhow. You have seen something happening and you take a photo. Please, that is really very bad. First, seek permission. Tell this person, you know what? I want to take a photo from this area. Is it fine with you? Because even sometimes some of you go and take pictures from people's background, yet some people are not willing to share their what? Privacy. So always seek permission before you do anything. Otherwise, anything you do, it is against the Data Protection and Privacy Act 2019. So you check out that paper, you read, because now they will be using information to fight against whatever thing you are coming up with. Even if, like I've talked about recorders, in case you have a recorder, it can be your phone, they can be these small phones, you can go with it. In case you ask permission, because sometimes when people are talking, sometimes it is not easy for us to balance the writing and the listening much as you can, but sometimes there are some things you may skip. But when you have the recorded thing, interview, then you can be able to extract it. And now that we have even artificial intelligence with us, we can be in position to get quite a lot of things from there. But also you must use respectful language. Some of you, I know, you can go and you are interviewing someone. Also, if someone is above you by age, you need to avoid some things like hi, such language, hello, things like guy, and the rest of that, those slangs that we usually use. So you need to know that this person, you have to greet him in a better way, that good morning, sir, good morning, madam, good morning, this and this. And even avoid using titles, or like you say, good morning, miss so and so. Because if you are not sure of the title of the person, just be general and say, good morning, teacher, good morning, head teacher, good morning, this and this, without using good morning, sir, good morning, teacher, like that. But otherwise, avoid putting some things, because someone, in case is not, then he will be in bad position. But also in academia, even now I'll let you know that in academia, we don't use doctor, that good morning, doctor. No, that is academically not right. So doctor is only used for medical people within the medical what? Medical field. So never greet someone, good morning, doctor, good morning, professor, good morning, this. No, no, no. That one is not there in academia. Okay, so we are going to continue. Now, here I have showed you the different postures, because you may go in for the interview and you may be standing, or you may be seated. So it depends. Now you need to have to know some of these etiquettes, that when you go for interview, you need to look out for some of these things. Whenever you go in for interview, I want to let you know that listening is the most important thing. Not you interrupting. Someone is still giving you the answer and now you asking another question. Give the person time. So you must be able to listen more than you speak. The reason why you have two ears is to be able to listen than talking. And it is an important skill that many times we do not have. So always make sure that if you are communicating, you are talking with someone, listen more than you talk. And someone who listens more is always at an advantage more than someone who speaks a lot. So learn to listen. Whenever you go for interview, give them time to explain. In case they finish, then that's when you can go in for another question. But don't interrupt. I think some of you have seen some people doing interviews. Someone has not yet responded back to the question, is firing another question. He has not responded, is firing. So that one is not good at communication. That's why in term 1 of senior 5, one of the topics you cover is communication, such that you can learn how to interview, how to pose questions, how to listen, because listening alone has 13 skill steps according to the builders what framework. For those who have time, you read about it, but listening is an important skill. So make sure that you follow through some of these etiquettes. Some of these things, let me say you have gone for an interview, you are a girl, you are a lady, you need to know how to sit, where to place your hands. Psychologically, whenever you find someone doing this, this shows someone who is not minding at all, someone who is absent-minded, who is overthinking. So you need to mind about the posture. Whenever you have gone, even if you have gone to someone's office and what, you need to be mindful of the posture, how you sit, this kind of sitting, touching the cheeks and the rest of that. Yes, so you need to be mindful of such things whereby someone is talking, you are busy on your phone, you are doing something, you are tapping. Yeah, so you need to be very careful. Even when you have gone to someone's office, it is not ethical for you to get your bag, you put it on someone's what table. Now you need to avoid all those things. Much as you have gone with your books, before you place your books, ask for permission. May I place my books here such that I can write on, and so on and so on. So you must seek for the permission. So be mindful of your dress code, be mindful of the hair, be mindful of everything, because that one will matter a lot. Okay, so these are some of the things that you will have to look at. Now, how are you going to present this? So allow me to stop sharing and I show you now a sample. Sorry. I'm going to show you a sample. How does an interview guide look like? Oh, which one are you going to develop? How will it look like? Now, I'm sharing my screen. Now, this is just a sample of your interview guide. Yeah, it can look like this. That number one, you are going to introduce who you are to this particular person. That my name is Kaziva Steven. I'm a senior 6 learner at this school. I'm conducting a study and this and this. Now, this is like the introduction. That means you have gone to the person, you have introduced yourself. Don't just enter the office and you tell someone certain, much as you may have scheduled the meeting already. So you have to introduce yourself and give the purpose. The purpose is always important. Why are you doing so? So you must be able to explain why you are doing so. Then after that, the other section, you need to have some background information. Now this background information helps you when you are categorizing the kind of response. You would expect that someone at a given age, there is some kind of information. But in case you look at the correlation, when it is negative, someone is 40 years, but the kind of information or responses is giving you, you feel it is like for someone of P2, then there is a problem. So you need now to check out the kind of the age, because you know that male and female would always respond differently on certain issues. Yeah, some issues the male may dominate, some issues female may dominate depending on the gender. So the gender is very important because it determines. Then also the age. We know that someone who is more experienced, people who have been in the field, depending on the topic you are handling, those people are more informed. When it comes to technology, things of social media, then you know that the youths are more exposed than the people who have been there for years. Then you need to know the role of the person. Is he a learner? Is he a prefect? What role does he play in the school? Because we expect that someone who is at a bigger role has more. In case here you're working in the community, then you'll put chairman, vice chairman, marketing, and the rest of that. In case you have gone to hospital, you can put director, doctor, and the rest of that. So it depends on which department you have gone to and where you are collecting your data from. But also the number of years someone has been in the community. In case someone has been working in this particular market for 15 years, that person is different for someone who came yesterday. The kind of experience, what the person has gone through is different from someone who has just been there for a few years. That's why sometimes they tell that experience is the best is the best teacher. Not in all circumstances, but in some circumstances, someone who has experiences may be more informed than someone who has not gone through. That's why, like, someone who has gone through a given experience is always the best person to advise you on some issues. Not all issues, but on some issues. But someone who has not gone through, he may not be able. Like, if you want to get information about how A level is, then the best person to ask is someone who has gone through A level to tell you what he or she has experienced. But someone who has not done something, you will always say, that is very easy. Like, you have seen some of the children say, at senior 4 as a walk, senior 4 is very easy because they have not reached there. But after reaching there, that they know that you need to put in some effort in order for you to achieve something. Now, after getting that information here, why we put on like a ticking, it becomes very easy for you. Then after that, you are going to go on to your objectives or your research questions. And then you are going to arrange them in terms of variables. That now, this first section is going to be about the independent variables, the cause. Now here you are trying to find out the cause of something or the different things under substance. What type of substances are commonly used by learners in your school? Then the person will say, we have these ones, we have these ones, we have these ones, and the rest of that. So one question should lead you to the other. One question leads to what? To the other. And like I've said, we shall avoid having very many questions because the more questions you have, the more time you will need for someone to exhaust all of them. So this is the sample. Then after handling the IV, you go to the DV. You also ask some questions you want clarification on. What signs of this? What and this? What and this and this? Then after that, then that is okay. Now after that, you ask yourself, what about the solutions? Do they have some possible solution to that effect? Then you come to the solution. What measures can schools take to reduce this? How can school improve learners' well-being like that? Therefore, the person will give you some of the solutions they have carried out at school, some of the things they are thinking about, and the rest of that. Now, after everything that the person has given you, then you thank the person that thank you for your time and cooperation and the rest of that. Then you end the interview. But I'll ask that for if you have very many questions, it will disturb you. Better you have very few that are specific that are going to support you to respond. Now, this is a sample of what we call an interview guide. And now, some of these things you have here, these are the things you are going to first send someone you are going to interview. Before you do anything, first send this person a heads up. You tell him that, you know what, Mr. So and so, I'm sending my document. I've printed it. I've sent a parcel to you. Kindly go through, such that also this person can prepare very well. Because you have seen that whenever you bump onto someone when he has not prepared, sometimes he has shallow knowledge about that particular topic. Can I first pause here and then I take you through now? After that, remember you must put your write-up in your extended essay. Now, when it comes to your extended essay, this is how you are going to write it. This is how you can write it, that in order to obtain qualitative data to supplement the information collected through questionnaires, the researcher will conduct interviews. Remember that when you are writing a proposal, a plan, you have not yet actually done something, but you are just planning what you are going to use it. And I told that under methodology, whatever thing you state, give the reason. Why are you choosing it? What are you going to use it for? What is its purpose in the study? So this is how you write. This is how you can write it in your research, in your essay, when you are reporting about the interview guide that you have used. Okay. How many questions? At least you can have at least 3 for each. 3 questions, 3 questions, 3 questions. It depends on the person. It depends on the time. Those questions will depend on the time you have, how many people you have to interview, and also the resources available. That's what. But at having 3 is good enough. But if you can have more, so much the better. Because the more questions you have, the more responses and more clearer your research questions can be responded to. Now, in case you have any questions, before we leave the interview guide, kindly raise up the hand and ask. I'm going to take on two hands any question concerning the interview guide. Okay. Yes, Dora?
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Uh, where exactly am I supposed to write this sample? As in my essay? Which part is
Oh,
that?
under methodology. Now, when you reach methodology, you are going to look at tools to collect data. Are you getting it? Now, when you reach
Yes.
the tools to collect data or data collection tools or research instruments, then you will say, I used questionnaires. Then you explain how you are going to use your questionnaires. Then you are going to reach and you say interview guide because that is an instrument. Then you explain how you are to use the research what? That instrument. Why you are using it, how you are going to use it, and for what purpose. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Eh, hmm. And here, remember members, you need to pose it depending on the what? On the problem. And I wouldn't want you to focus on only the problem you are currently working on. Make sure you are exposed to many problems. And that's why in term 2 of senior 5, your teachers exposed you, had to, I don't know whether they exposed you to different research questions, research papers, such that you can learn how different problems occur in society and how people are solving them. Okay. Yes, the methodology is in the body. Eh, methodology is in the body. Do you need to put the extended essay? It will depend on the type. But for your extended essay, when you are writing it, put it under appendix. That's why on my documents you saw appendix 3, appendix 4. So you have to attach what did you use when you are collecting the data. That is the evidence. Yes, Frederick, and not 8.
Hey, good afternoon, sir. Hope
Yes.
that you are right.
Yes.
My question is about assuming you've gone like to seek for job, then you are going to be interviewed, but you find the interviewer whether they are more than one, right? But you find them somehow busy. Would it require you to first, or would it require you to come with an interesting story in order to grab their what? To grab their, can I call it, to grab their mind, to put in mind on you,
Okay.
because
Now,
you say that don't ask many questions, don't speak a lot, something like that.
yes. Now, Frederick, like I've said
Yes.
that you must always plan. If Fred, you have made, if you have scheduled a meeting
Mm,
with me, an interview, then
uh,
I'm going to put it on my calendar that
mm,
Frederick
mm,
at 12 a.m. Sorry, that may be at let me say at 5 p.m. is coming for
mm,
an interview on such and
mm,
such a day. Then
mm,
I'm going to put it depends on the person, but someone who is responsible, that's what you do. You put it on the calendar that on Monday of such and such a date, I'll expect Frederick to come for an interview. Now, the person by that time will be ready
mm,
to receive you. Even if you find a person having someone, you first give him
mm,
a chance. You first, in case this person has a secretary, you can talk to the secretary, go and kind of help me go and inform the head teacher that I have come for
mm,
the interview that we had scheduled. In case that person
mm,
has someone inside office, you first wait patiently out from out and then maybe talk to the secretary, talk to the person, or you can knock gently enter the room and greet the people who are inside, and then tell teacher had come for the this and this that we had scheduled. In case the person still has it on mind, then we tell you, okay, give me 5 minutes for us to have this. But don't interrupt in your conversation. Or you may ask, excuse me, sir, or you can ask for an excuse and then tell him about it. And then you wait.
Okay.
But make sure that you plan. Don't just bump onto someone because they will not give you
Oh,
that attention.
okay. Thank you so much.
Okay. Note 8. Okay. So we are going to continue. Yeah. Do I attach my recording directly there where I stated in the body under the methodology? No. Now, your recordings, what you have obtained, it is in under analysis. I expect that Deborah in senior 5 term 3, you looked at data collection and analysis. Now, whatever thing you're going to get from interview, you're going to put it under analysis. We said methodology is how are you going to obtain data? How are you going to conduct your research? So here you are just giving the procedures you are going to follow to get your data. That I'm going to use the interview guide for this purpose. This is how I'm going to do it. That is the meaning of methodology. Now, but master, when we use the questionnaires, now it depends. You need to ask yourself, what did the item ask for? Were they asking for the plan? Were they asking for a proposal? Yes, so it depends on what the question was asking for. Yes, but now that one, like I've said, that questionnaires are always put in Appendix C. They just show you how you are going to conduct. Now, when you are explaining in your work, you just say questionnaires, maybe interview guides, then explain how you are going to use them. But don't draw the questionnaires and say this and this, this and this and this and this. But just explain what you need in your methodology, that I will need the questionnaires, I will develop questionnaires for this and this, for my IV, for my DV, for this purpose, and the rest of that. Yeah, so that's it. Here you are just how you are going to do it, but the actual thing you can attach it under your appendix. Okay. Okay, so we are going to now continue. Now, the second tool, we call it the observational checklist. I know in senior 3, senior 4, you were observed by your school, by the teachers that do teach you. Now, observation checklist or observation is another form of research instrument. It is another way you can collect data. Now, when you talk about an observation checklist, that is one that you can use to record behavior. There are some activities you want to see. There are some infrastructure facilities you want to see in this particular school. You want to know why, because like today someone sent me something about performance of girls in mathematics and the rest of that. But you may find that there are some factors within the school that maybe they have very few math teachers in the school. Two, they may not have infrastructures, maybe they don't have boards, they don't have textbooks and the rest of that. Now, those things don't need to be explained. You need to observe them and look at them and say, books observed. Check. Mathematical sets observed. Calculators seen. Because now some of those things you can never tell the truth for some of the information that can be touched. You may never tell unless you have seen it yourself, unless you have touched. So that's why it is very important. So here you get first-hand information and you are able to observe real behavior. Some of you are working on things concerning disorders, and you may be working on this kind of mental kind of disorder, but you may need to look at the person. How is this person handled in class? That maybe this person is never given attention, is never picked during lessons. When you look at the books for the person, that in his books teachers do not mark and the rest of that. Now, some of those things you need to observe. Maybe in case you are working on things concerning timetable structures. Then you look and say that now this school's timetable is overloaded, lesson after lesson, children don't have time, the children do not have any resting time, the break is very short, lunch is very short, they study up to 8 p.m. and the rest of that. Now you look at those particular things. In case you are looking at let me say you are looking at nutrition, maybe nutrition things and the rest of that, then you need to look at what these people stock in the canteen, that these people are having this kind of grab that is having a lot of chemicals, that they have a lot of sodas, they have a lot of cakes and the rest of that. Then you need to know that such things have a way they affect children's what? Mental health, that they are ever on high screens and the rest of that, then you need to look out for that. So some of these things need to be observed. Check out what is really happening. Yeah. So that is the observation checklist. But they must be clear, simple. Like the way you looked at your observation checklist at O level, it was just a matter of ticking, this observe, this observe, this observe. But whatever thing you want to observe, it must be responding back to what you intend to achieve in your study. That if your intention is looking at how are these infrastructures in the school contributing to the performance of children in school, then you need to be able to observe that maybe one of the things I need to look out for, I look at maybe the library. Another thing I need to look out for, I need to look at this, the classroom size. How many children are in class? That this class are 30, these ones are. And now for such things of observation, sometimes it is okay for you to just drop in without informing them. Because if you tell them that I'm coming on such and such a day, that is the day they will put everything of theirs on display. So you may get a wrong picture. You can just tell them, head teacher, I'm requesting to come and observe your school in the month of April, in the month of June. Don't specify the date and then you just drop in, such that you can see actually what takes place. Otherwise, if you said that I want to come on Friday, that is the day you'll find them. They have put all the books, they have borrowed this, and the other. But just tell them that I want to come within. So for observation, you may not schedule a formal day, but you can schedule within a month and tell them I want to come within this month, such that they don't know which actual date you are going to come, but any day. So that's where you'll get data that is not biased. Otherwise, if you inform them on the day you are going, you'll get data that is biased, because chances are high they want to make themselves good in front of you. It's like the way when a visitor tells you, I want to come and visit you on Monday. That's the day you are going to clean your house, to do this and the other. But if they just drop in, that's when they will know the actual who you are. The actual who you are. Those are the things you do in the absence of other people. That is who you are. Like in case everyone is away from home, those things you are doing, those things you keep doing and the rest of that, that's who you are. Those are your characters. Yeah. So that's why it's important always just do a drop in. What are some of those things we can observe? Now it will depend. It depends on your research questions. It depends on the topic you are handling. There are things that require human behavior that you may read, you may need to observe. Take an example, participation in class. You may need to sit in class for some hours and see how are these children participating. In case it is about physical environment and infrastructure, you may need to look at how are their classes, that the classes are clean, the classes are colored, the classes have a board, the classes have chalk, the classes have this. What about the seating arrangement? That children sit in groups, children sit in this kind of format. Then you ask yourself, what about maybe laboratory equipments, that in the lab they are this? Yes, so it depends on what you are working on. If someone is looking at science practical activities and how they are contributing to the learning outcomes of children, then it means that you need to look at the lab, what they have in the laboratory, the kind of laboratory attendance they have, and the rest of that. In case you are looking at accessibility, maybe for special needs children, you need to look at the school, look at whether they have ramps, look at whether they have special rooms for them. All those things matter. So it depends on the topic you are dealing with. In case you are looking at teaching activities and your topic is around there, then you need to look out how do these teachers teach in this school, that maybe they're engaging children or they're using the other old methods. Maybe this and this is happening. So there are things you need to observe, but it will depend on which kind of topic you are dealing with. Not all topics may require observation. Some topics may require, others they may not require. Some things may be sensitive that people cannot show you. Yeah, so for such things like in hospitals, those who are going to work with things concerning hospitals, health, and the rest, there are some things that they cannot show you. So don't go on and ask, I want to see this. There are some things that the hospital or the community may not be willing to show you. And I think the whites, sometimes they do it very well. When you look at the information, sometimes that they display on internet, they only show you good things. It is only when you have reached on ground that you know what actually happens there. But on internet, they make sure that they sieve out all bad things. They only put what? Good things for you. And then for you, this thing is good. But first reach on ground, and then you know what actually. So sometimes some information may be hidden from you. So that one, don't force responses. Leave them out. Yeah, so these are some of the things that we can observe, but everything will depend on the topic. In case your topic is on infrastructure facilities, then you need to know that what are those things that can be observed, that may be buildings, toilets, and the rest of that. In case it is teaching methods, then these are the things you need. In case it is mental being, then it is this. In case it is discipline, it is this. In case it is about ICT integration, then these are the things. So look out for the topic. Check out the topic you are dealing with, and then ask yourself, what are some of those things that I can observe that can support my data, that can help me? Because if you find out that in your data, the performance is bad, you are looking at academic performance of children, you need to know actually what is it that is causing the children to perform badly. And then how are you going to improve that? You have identified that there is a gap. The school has 3 computers, and among those 3 computers, only 2 are working. What is the class size? The children are 150 doing ICT. Now you know that because of the few computers in the school, it means that children have little time to practice. They don't have hands-on. So, this is what is now creating the the performance to be bad in this particular subject. Now, these things you have observed, they will be able. But if you just use interview, then it means that there are things they may not tell you, because sometimes they want to make themselves good. So how can we report this? Now, if you are talking about in your methodology, the checklist as one of the research instruments, then you say that I'm going to use the observation as the method of this. Why are you going to use it? You give the reason. What is it going to do? You give the what? The reason. So this is how you can report about the checklist. Now, I repeat, this is under methodology in your body of the essay. And this happens when you are doing your proposal, when you are making your plan, because they are going to ask you, in case you meet, they can give you a problem that Kampala recently had floods and the rest of that and the rest of that. Then in case they may give you some hints of the things to include in your plan and the rest of that. In case they put for you, let me say they have put for you research instruments or things to use, then you need to know that I'll use observation checklist. The observation checklist will support me to maybe to collect data about how many shops were affected, how they were affected, and the rest of that. So you keep on like explaining what it's going to do and how you are going to use it and why you chose it. Now that is the meaning. So whatever thing you include in your methodology, it is showing how are you going to use it, what is it going to do, how are you going to use it, what is its purpose, and the reason for it. And how can that observation checklist look like? Now your checklist can look like something like this. This is a sample of my checklist. So a checklist, I will put my topic, I'll put a simple introduction about myself, then I'll put information that which is the date that I'm going to observe. Then you write here that the date of observation, what is the time? Because it depends. Like when you go to schools, early in the morning, when they have just cleaned the toilets, they will be very clean. You go there in the afternoon hours. Now the time of the day, it determines sometimes what you observe. Then the school observed, then you put that maybe it depends. In case it's community, you put the community. Then you put the location and the person who has observed. Then, like I've said, that here it is just a matter of ticking, like the checklist you had, that learners, in case it is about participation, then you say, do learners participate? Yes, I have seen it. Absenteeism, then you check on the class, some class schools they put absenteeism and what. Then you say, yeah, some kids are absent. Then in case there's anything you want to add on, then you say, because some kids are absent maybe today because they had chased them for fees. And then you put some comment here. Some learners appear isolated, then you say yes, this and this. Then you keep on ticking during your observation. Where you need to emphasize and put more comment, then you go on and add on that particular thing you think you may need to add on. In case it requires descriptive writing, then you write that part that require, because there are some things that you may not have captured, but in the process of moving around the school, moving around the community, you have observed them. So those ones, you can put them in the descriptive note to help you. And then at the end of the day, you must go on and reflect. What did you observe? What did you learn? How was your experience? Because at the end of the day, we are going to have our reflective journal that we are going to put inside our essay. So this is just a sample of how an observation checklist can look like. Okay, case.
Yeah.
Yes.
You've been saying that the checklists are they also supposed to be written in the question? Like, are they also supposed to be written in the paper, as in when you're writing your answers? Are they also a must to be written?
I've showed you a sample here. You are seeing a sample here.
Yes.
This is just a sample. But like I've said, that when it comes, it depends on what you are doing. If you are doing a plan, they have asked you to write a plan, a proposal, and the rest of that. Then you be mindful one of the tense. Now, what you need to know that much as I've showed you three tools, three research instruments, not all of them will apply. You may find that you will need two, you will need one. Now you need to write about what you are going to apply. But in case you are writing a plan, you are writing a proposal, you write the tool, that observation checklist. Then you go that I'm going to use the observation list checklist to collect data. How are you going to use it? Then you explain. What is it going to do? It's going to do this and the other. That's what this is, a sample I'm telling you how you're going to put it in your methodology. That you are going to put for us the heading research instruments or data collection tools. And then you say questionnaire. You write about it. The questionnaire is this. Don't define. You may not define. There's no need for you to define. Tell us what is it. What is it going to do in your research? Why did you choose it? And how is it relevant? Those are the things that you need to write about. Hope it is clear. Okay. Techno. Okay. I'll fail to get techno. So we are going to continue.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm here, sir.
Yes, please go on.
Now,
Mm.
uh, when I attentively listen to you and even my teacher who is teaching me GP, I realize this topic, this kind of project work, it is good to help us widen our mind in terms of like giving us more knowledge and all that. But when we look at when we look at when we look at the issue of finding a research topic, one can get the topic, but you realize that you will be told that it is a broad kind of topic, and we should get something simple. And then the other thing is also when we look at creating questionnaire and all that, questionnaire, one can create questionnaire, but the point is, hello.
Continue. I'm listening.
Now the point is, when you look at it, the level of technology system, like technology in our area, if indeed this project kind of thing is meant to like as a kind of is addition kind of thing to our success, like in A level or senior six in a UCSC, I realize USCE. I realize it will be very hard. And the issue of time, the time frame, and then also it need financial kind of support. And then the third one also issue of technology. When you come down to where we are in, I'm talking in a general perspective point of view. When you come down to where we are in, it's a bit very difficult. Like for me, I came to attend my classes, this Zoom meeting with somebody who has the phone, but me also I don't have. Now how are we going to? And then in A level also I'm not offering A level. I'm not offering ICT. I'm offering what do you call subjects that are sciences. ICT is not in with the submat. So how are you going to help those one who may not make it the best level of like writing the project to the best level of the like I mean uh to the expected way. That's what I mean. So how are you going to help us? Because to my own analysis, I look at it. If indeed is it something that added to our passing of the USCA, I think that is my own independent point of view. I think it will be very hard. Maybe 20% of people will pass that, but 80% of people will not pass that. To me, that is my own point of view independently. So how are I going to support? And then me, I did my research. After I did my research, and then I find that it is also a bit broad. I find that it is all this. So I'm seeing there's a frustration, level of frustration from various students, even in other school that I asked. There is just a level of frustration. And then I don't know how it will be. And I don't know how you're going to help us. But all in all, I appreciate it. But it will have been raised last year in senior five, early senior five, and then us coming to this year senior six, we will have coped up very well. Then we'll have even used enough time to do it. But now when I'm looking at it, the time is a bit limited. That is my own point of view. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. May I ask, did you do project in O level? Yeah, because Techno kindly first, did you do? I don't know that I will get you, but
Yes, I'm
you
here.
did.
I did project in O level, but the
Did
project I did is not advanced like this one
ah
because what I heard that we are going to submit is it online or whatsoever? We're going to submit it online. So in O level I did, even some of the students we did the project. I understand we did it, but not more advanced like this one here. The one of O level is a bit shallow, whereby you're given sometime you create a project like sometime brewing local alcohol, how to make yogurt, how to make liquid soap, you know. So when I look at that, that is not too broad, but this one is too broad and advanced.
okay,
Thank
okay,
you.
okay. What I'm going to do, I will respond to your questions at the end of the session. I've kept note of them, but I'll respond. But one thing I want you to learn is that have a change of the mindset. That in life, much as some things may appear to be hard, these things are doable as long as you commit yourself to it. So since now you have got an opportunity to come online, that is one step ahead, that at least now you know this is what is happening. Now, what you do after you knowing that something is happening is what matters a lot. So you create time. You create time. That's why I always say that the moment someone reaches a level, the way you do things, the way you think and act should be different from O level. A level, they should not spoon feed you. That's why the syllabus books are available to you such that you know what you are supposed to cover. Yes, so at A level, there is no any excuse that you will give in life that because of this and this is what happened. Because now you have reached 16 years, so your kind of thinking should always be a bit different. But I will support you at the end of the day on what we can do for now. Yeah. Okay, but the most important thing I want you to learn is that you are not preparing for exams. Let's have that change of the mind. It's not about exams, but what can I use this information for? Where am I going to use it? Because now the information you are getting, you are preparing for university. And at university, those who have been following news, you have noticed that the universities have already started planning for you. But the kind or the mode of work they are going to do with you is research based. It is in research what? Direction. That means that by the time you enter university, you must be ready because university now know that you know this kind of what? Information. They will just be giving you go do this, and the other. So you need to be well informed on how to do things. Okay. Now we have what you call validity. Now validity measures the extent to which something is okay. Now, when it comes to validity of the instrument, you may come up with something as an individual, but at a later time, you may notice that what you did was vague. It's like when you go to exam, you may write for 2 hours and you may think that what you have written, everything is correct, but only for the papers to come back and you notice that things were not okay. But sometimes you may write something, you think it is not right, but when things come back, you notice that things were fine. Now, whatever thing we are going to do, we are going to test for what we call validity and what we call reliability of the instrument. Under reliability, we shall check also that if I use these instruments to collect information, are they still the same? Recently or last term, I know UNEP did some pre-testing before they set out the sample papers for you people. Now, the pre-testing was intended to check out, is what they are thinking okay? Is it in line with the users? Now, after doing the pretest, that's when now they can come up with the final one. Now, before you go to administer whatever tool you are going to use to the large population, you need to first do the pretest. You need to first test out. It's like when you go to the shop to buy a shoe, always better you first test it before you take it home, because you may take it home when it cannot fit you. Now, in research, we have what we call the pre-testing. Pre-testing means try out the shoe before you take it home for final use. Before you take your instrument, you have come up with an observation checklist, questionnaires, interviews. Can you first test them and check out, are they good? How are you going to test them? Number one, I know you have teachers at school that are supervising you. You have your parents. You have your friends at school. First, make a sample. Get those things you have developed. Try them out with your friends at school. Let them give you your opinions. They will say that, this question was hard. Those who did pre-test, after you had done the pre-test, you were supposed to give some feedback. How you found the paper. That this paper, it was detailed, this paper was hard, this question were not clear, the scenario was too big, and the rest of that. Now, that's why we do the pre-testing. Now, all the research questions you are going to come up with, before you send them to the teacher, now since you are on holiday, first give them to your parents at home, those people you have at home. Let them first try them out. Now give them to the teachers also to look through. Before you launch them to the bigger community, get 10, 5, 6 people. Let them test out your research questions. Your interview guide. Let them test out the questionnaire and see how is it that maybe this is lacking. They'll give you some feedback, because as an individual, you may think you are 100% okay. Even if you have used an AI tool, it will tell you. But if someone critical looks at them, 2 eyes are better than 1 eye. you'll get a better answer. So test out before you give them. Because it is always bad to go in the field and you find out that what you did was fake. It was not good. It is bad. So always make sure that you test them. That's why we do the pre-testing. Now, why we do pre-testing? We want to find out, are there some questions that are not clear? Is the timing okay? Because you may schedule your interview and think that it will take 20 minutes. And when you start asking your colleagues, you find that it is taking 1 hour. Then you need to know that, no, for this question, I need to adjust. Sometimes you may not see the errors, but when your friends look through your work, they may be able to identify that there is an error. Sometimes you may put questions because like sometimes we want simple life. We may go to the AI tool, we tell it to generate for us all the questions. But also, you know that that machine is not yet well trained, so it may make errors. So you need to look out for those kind of things. That's why we do the pre-testing. That's why that before UNEB gives any assessment, they always first do pre-testing for whatever level, such that they find out are there errors. And that's why every year they keep on improving. Keep on what? Improving. So it is very important. Now, in case you are talking about the pretest, then this is how you can report about it. That I will conduct a pretest for the research instruments before the actual data exercise is being done. What will it involve? I will administer questionnaires to this and this and this. Why are you doing it? That is the purpose, is to identify why some unclear questions, statements that are very ambiguous, weaknesses in the instruments, and the rest of that. Now, this is how you are going to report that I'm going to do somewhat pre-testing. But don't run your instrument and you just give to someone that this is how something works before you test it out. Then we have what you call, we have what you call data collection procedures. Now, under data collection procedures, here you look at how are you going to collect data from the field. I know some of you, those who have done, some of you have developed your questionnaires, you have developed your things, but there is a protocol you need to observe. There are some procedures you have to go through. Now, this is how you're going to collect your information. So in the process of writing your X, you'll put data collection procedures. However, now there are two things I don't want you to confuse. Here, we are developing a proposal, how you are going to do it. But in case it comes to reporting now the language will change. You will say that the data was that I obtained an introductory letter from the school before I went on to collect the data. So here you use the reported speech because you'll be reporting when you are coming up with your final document. But in case when you are planning anything, you use future tense, that I've not yet done it, but this is how I'm going to do it, and this is why I'm going to do it. Now, there is a procedure you need to follow. The first thing you need always to get, never go to the community to get data if you do not have a letter of introduction. That's why before someone comes to you, before someone goes to any place, you need, and this one is specified under, or it has been talked about, those who know what you call the Data Protection and Privacy Act of 2019, you'll check it out. You'll find out that there are some things any researcher who is going to collect data from people is supposed to have. But at our level where we are, we expect that you're going to get an introductory letter from the school. Your head teacher, the people in charge are going to write for you an introductory letter. Now that introductory letter, it is the one that you're going to use to go to this particular school and get the information. You will send it there, and then you remain with a copy with you that even you are going to put under your appendix some of the things you use. So how can that letter look like? Your letter can look like this. A sample of the letter. Oh, okay. Let me. That letter can look like this. This is the sample that your schools can develop. Something like this. This one I've just developed it for our help things. That this is The letter 11th May, introductory letter for data collection. Then they introduce that this is to introduce such a student of my school who is working on this, the studies being carried out, the purpose of this. So they write for you this kind of introductory letter, and then the head teacher will put yours faithfully, this and this. They put the head teacher, they put the school stamp. And now this is the letter that will be printed out, and then you go with it in that particular school or in the community where you're going to conduct the data. Like I've said, it depends where you're going to get this data. Is it from the market? Is it from there? And when you go to the environment to collect data, that means you are going to go to the head teacher. In case it is the school, you go to head teacher. In case it is the market, you go to the market leader, those people who are heading the market. In case it is community, you go to the chairman. In case it is hospital, you go to the director. Those are the people that are going to handle you. Then from there, they will support you to take you through the different departments that will support you. But have something. Don't just go to collect data without information. Then still under the data collection, we have what we call a consent letter. Many times you have seen that before you go on to people give you their information, you need to first have consent. Some of you, depending on the school where you are, I know you signed consent, whereby you allowed the school to use your photos. You allowed the school to take your pictures. You allowed the school to collect information. And if you do not allow the school to do so, you can sue them because you did not give them permission. That's why for any school now that is very serious, we'll say, during admission, sign a consent form. And always you need to read it very well. What does it say? Because there are some schools that have even some clauses within them. But just like, sometimes we don't want to read things in details. Sometimes you don't read and you notice that at a later time it is affecting you. Now, before you administer the questionnaires, the interview, and the rest of that, people must first sign that they have accepted, you have not forced them, they have understood the conditions for you, they know why you are doing the research. Yes, so this is an example of a consent form that you are being able to explain to someone. Don't just give them questionnaires. That's why it is always better. Go to the ground and find out this information. Go to the ground and interact with them. Avoid sending questionnaires for people to just fill them, because here you are able to explain. Like I've said, sometimes people don't read. But if you explain to them verbally, they will be in position to understand. Then the person will sign for you, put his name, signature, and the date. Now, this one shows that this person has actually accepted. He has uh he has he has learned why he or she is going to participate in this kind of interaction, and he knows the reason. Otherwise, sometimes you may find that the people you are interacting with, they are not understanding. But if you explain to them, that means that if you have visited this community, the chairman can even first invite all the committee members and say, you know what, we have a researcher here from this school, he has come out to do this and this. Then you address the community, you tell them your objectives, why you are doing the research, and the rest of that. The purpose of you doing this, and the rest of that. So at the end of the day, people are able to understand why you are doing so and the kind of information. In case you are someone who is doing scientific project, then for you, it will depend on what you are working with. But in case it's about experiments and the rest of that, then still the school must allow you to use their school laboratory to do the different tests and the rest of that. But also in the clause, you need to indicate it somewhere that in case of fire, I'm not responsible. It is the school to incur the costs. So those are some of the things you need to put in the consent, the things that you are writing up. Then you sign and then you keep it. At the later time, in case someone finds some of the information quoted, someone will not. But also you writing this, it shows that the data you have obtained is of quality. You are not just forging way out. Otherwise, some people can just forge the data and you believe. But once you have those consent forms and you have done everything, then it means that the data you are getting is of good quality. Now, the last one, we call it the data analysis. Now, data analysis in Senior 5, I'm going to take you back to Senior 5 because according to the syllabus, those are the things you looked at. Now, under data analysis, after you have collected the data, still under methodology, you need to explain how are you going to analyze this data you are going to obtain. That you have gathered this information from the school, from the community. How are you going to present it? Data analysis is making sense from what you have obtained from the community, from what you have got from the field. Make sense from it. How are you going to make sense from it? Now that is the analysis that you are going to organize. You have to interpret and summarize. In senior 3, all of you learned about data collection. In your year, there was a number about data collection. I think it was number 3. It was there. In senior 5, anyone doing sub-math, you have done data collection. Anyone doing pure math, you have done data what? Collection. Still, those who are doing ICT, you are learning about Excel in ICT. Now, all those things you are doing, even in senior 1, you did something concerning qualitative and quantitative what? Data. Now, all those things you have been doing, this is where you're going to apply them. You were not doing them just to pass exams, but also they have applicability. But like I've kept telling you that even when you go to the field, even after your studies, if you are to establish and chase after your dream of anything you want to do in life, you'll always have to analyze, is my business making sense or not? For any person who knows how to analyze the business statistics, you'll find that this person is what? Successful. Because now he can even be able to predict that in this month, I may make a loss. I don't need to stock. Depending on how his curve is doing. Now that is this kind of section. So in your explanation, your methodology, you need to tell us what data are you going to analyze? How are you going to analyze it? Which tools are you going to use? Now, at this level, I'm going to introduce just simple tools. But as you advance, let me say now at university, because all what we are doing just the foundation. But at university, you are going to add up. You are going to keep on adding on more. Now, some of the things you looked at in quantitative data. You remember in quantitative data, you looked at tallies, whereby you were able to obtain frequencies. You looked at percentages, the percentiles, the quartiles, all of those things. You looked at tables, you looked at graphs, you looked at bar graphs in senior 1. In senior 3, you were introduced to histograms. In senior 3, you were introduced to cumulative frequency curves. In senior 5, you have been introduced to scatter diagrams, those of sub-math. Still, those of pure math, you have been introduced to probabilities. Also, you did probabilities. So, all that is what we call now the quantitative data analysis. Then, under qualitative data that requires explanations and the rest of that. Now, this one, you are going to collect it using interviews and the rest of that. Much as also you can use the secondary data source. Yeah. But now, as you are analyzing your data, these are the things. In senior 1, you use the graphs. So here, this is where you're going to bring in your pie charts. You're going, let me say, you have been able to go and get maybe 50 male and 50 female. Then when you're analyzing, you'll come up with your sketch of a pie chart to show that these are male, these are female. You put in percentage that 50% of the respondents were male, 50% were female. So that's how we are going to be analyzing. But we are mainly going to use percentages, we are going to use frequencies, we are going to use data to summarize and graphs. But at this level, still, we may not do them manually. We are going to use tools. We shall use our Excel as a simple tool for now. Here we shall just do a bit of Excel. We shall use Excel. But those who have advanced knowledge, it is okay. You can use what we call SPSS. That is statistical for social scientists. You can use those who are so much into science. You can say, let me use Python for programming things. Or you can say, let me use R. It depends on what you are familiar with. In case you have knowledge on programming, it is okay you go in for those ones. But we can use simple tools, but use what we have already learned. You learned about percentages, quartiles, you learned about median, mode, mean. Those are the things we are going to use to analyze our quantitative data. And in the process of reporting it, we shall report it qualitatively, but have a reason based on the quantitative findings. Okay, so how are you going? This is how you are going to report it, that the quantitative data will be collected. I will analyze this and the other will be collected, graphs and this, because like I've told you that for whatever thing you are going to be doing, you are going to put it in your methodology. How are you going to analyze data? That I'm going to analyze quantitative data using Excel. In this, I will code the data. I will get that I'll get the frequencies, I get the percentages, I get this and the other. Then under qualitative data, I'll get this and the other. So that's how you are going to do it. Yeah, now the data, anything you're going to collect, like the data, is going to be helping you to answer the research question. I want to let you know that even if you write all the 4,000 words, but when you have not analyzed that, you have done nothing. You have done nothing, because it is the data analysis that responds to your research question. That thing you wanted to respond to, it is answered by the data you come up with. So it's going to be very important for you to analyze the data. Much as I've talked about Excel, there are other tools we can use to analyze the data. But all the tools rotate about using those Excel or the programming. Yeah. Yeah, but I know in senior 5, you learned something about data analysis, how to come up with the tables. Now people of Sabu math, now here under patterns and relationship, that's where you're going to apply your knowledge of scatter what? Diagrams. Look, in case you thinks you were doing correlational, your research was correlation in nature, then you show how things are rotating. That maybe I found out that people who are doing biology and chemistry, they were struggling with math. Then you show that kind of relation and you say that it was a negative correlation. Now that's the kind of language you shall be using. That for this, it was a positive relationship between the people who are offering math and computer. Depending on the time, let me say time of the day and how children are alert in class. So you kind of relate those what? Those variables, but in that direction. Now, this is how you can report them when it comes to data analysis. That quantitative data collected through questionnaire will be coded and organized in tables for analysis. Frequencies and percentages will be used to summarize respondents' views related to substance use and mental being. Charts and graphs, here even you may specify that pie charts, that maybe pie charts and maybe bar graphs will be used to present the findings clearly. Then the qualitative data, the data from interviews will be analyzed thematically. Responses will be grouped in this and this. Now, this is how you are going to write in your proposal or in your plan. Yes, yes, yes. So, that is what you are going to be working on or doing. So when I know here I've used the word coded. Coded, it means that converting information more from words into symbols, into things that can become easier. Like you remove it from words and you use figures. That's what the meaning of what? Coded. Yeah, in that sense. Okay. Okay. I think, let me check. Oh, then the last thing that for data analysis, it will turn all the information into good findings. Whatever thing you're going to do, it is the data analysis that is going to determine. So it is very important. I know it may appear as if it is so bulky, it's a lot. No, I want to let you know that it is not. It's not so bulky. Everything is possible and we can achieve it as long as you commit yourself towards what you really want. Then the last one, we call it ethical considerations in research. Ethics. Now, when you talk about ethical considerations, In the process of you doing these projects, there are some values. There are some things you must exhibit. One of it is that you must respect people's work. Whatever thing you're going to do, kindly respect people's work. Do not copy and paste someone's work. Learn to develop. Learn to come up with your own knowledge. Learn to create your own knowledge. Do not copy and paste. In research, in academia, we call it plagiarism. Number 2, be honest. Don't force things to come out. You have seen people during practicals because someone is expecting something has not come out, and someone say, I will force it to come out. I will force it. Don't force. Be honest. Be someone who has integrity. If something has failed to come out, report it. Say, I failed to get an interview from the head teacher. That is okay in research. Don't force things. Otherwise, when you force things, then your research is not valid. Then be responsible. Own your work. Otherwise, let the teachers not push you that please go and do this, go and do this, go and do this. People may not have time. They will not have time, but be responsible. On this week, this is what I'm going to work on. This week, this is what I'm going to work on. So there are some things in research, and those who are going to go for advanced studies, you'll find some of these things work. But please respect people's work. Number 2, also privacy is important. If someone has not okayed you to use his or her photo, his or her recording, whatever thing, please do not use them. Don't record them. I know you can record someone when someone does not. No, it is okay, but please ask for permission. Yes, some of you, sometimes you are careless with people's data, and that's where the other issue you need to have to work on. Don't be careless. You have gone to a certain school, you have a certain community, you have collected data, and you go to social media and you start exposing it. That is very wrong. And according to the Data Protection and Privacy Act, that one, they can even take you to prison. That is a very big crime. Yes, it's like you have seen some of these careless people on social media platforms whereby they go to a given hospital because maybe something bad has happened on their patients, they take a photo. Now that one is very bad because you have not asked permission from the hospital. And that one, you are not solving a problem. Go to the hospital, solve a problem. So such things like you have seen a doctor in the process of carrying out the thing is taking the patient's what? Information, photos, and the rest of that, unless you have asked for permission. Otherwise, that is not right. So protect privacy. If someone has said no, respect their no. If a school tells you that please don't put the name of the school, don't do this and the other. And that's why in anything you're going to do, don't mention the areas where you have conducted the research anywhere in your study. That I went to school X, I went to Y, I went to where Kablamaido, I went here. We don't, because your data will be biased, because someone may have a bias on that school and say, that one is not true. That's why we say that work within a community, but don't specify, don't be specific that I'm going here, that I'm going to work here, and you include them. Don't put them in your study. Generalize. Okay. I've talked about informed consent. I've showed you an example of a consent form. Then participation, let it be voluntary. Don't force people. In case someone says, no, I don't want, please go on. Hey, don't tie yourself on someone. If someone says, I'm not willing, because there are people who will say, I don't have your time. It is well, get people who are willing. That's why even for some organization, you have seen them even paying people to just fill them the questionnaires. Yes, we have talked about confidentiality and also respect for property. Respect people's property. Yeah, in case they have given you something to use, respect it. Yes, yes. Then we have talked about one of the key things we must protect the respondents. anyone who has responded. It's like some of you at your schools, you have counselors. But in case you find maybe something you shared with a counselor around anyone or someone in school talking about it, you will feel uncomfortable. There are some things that these people are going to reveal to you in the process of conducting research. However painful it may be, however pleasing you may feel you need to tell to report this child, please do not. So keep their privacy, protect them, however bad it may be. Because anything you are going to come up with, we are looking at how can we improve our societies? How can we make our societies better? There are things that you are seeing that you want to solve. So we are asking, how can we make them better? So mean that any solution, any data you are going to collect and analyze and come up with, it is going to contribute to the betterment of the societies where we are coming from. If you have found out that one of the things that may be causing this and this in this particular community is the solution, this can be the solution, then please present it to the community. Because at the end of the day, you are going to make presentations on how you are coming up with, on what you have come up with, and which solution you are providing to the community. Don't look at those big problems and you want to find solutions. You may not end. What matters a lot is you being able to provide a solution to the problem, however small it may be. I know there is a school in around Kampala here, or in Kampala, or in Central. One time they had a lot of jam during those visiting days and the rest of that. But one of the problems that they looked, it was really disturbing. Every time the parents were getting problems, they come, the lines are so long and the rest of that. But many times the head teacher, the school kept ignoring it. But one time, these people who clean the compound told the headmaster or told the head teacher, why don't you just open the upper gate such that when the parents come in, instead of going back through the same gate, they come in from this gate and pass through the other second gate. They come in like this and they get out from the upper gate. I want to tell you, the solution worked and there was no jam. Now, the problem was solved. So when you are looking for problems, you may not look at very big problems that I want to manufacture this and this. No, you may look at a problem within society and you feel it is placing and you can come up with a simple solution to that problem. From that, we are helping and we are putting a brick on our communities. So make sure that you consider. Even you have seen that in news, in case someone has allowed you or you want to include a picture, you have seen many times even they cover their they cover their faces. They cover their faces and the rest of that. And don't use people's pictures in your essay writing. Don't use anyone's picture there. Don't put those pictures of school or what. Don't put them there. But in your folder for your research, you can include them there to show that you visited this place, you visited this place, and you visited this place. And even when you visit, the head teacher or the person in that institution will write for you that on such and such a day, we received this person, and this person did this and this. That is okay, or that is good information. Integrity is key. Avoid, I know you are going to be using the internet, you are going to find a lot of data, what. Please have integrity. Have integrity. Yeah, shortcuts are good, but they are not sustainable. It may look as if something very small now, but in the future, you'll find, or you'll know why, how bad it was. So have integrity. Don't go and just copy. I know you may go to the internet, you find this and this, and you do it. At the end of the day, in case some of these things, in case something of the sort happens or appears, you'll not be able to do it. And one thing you need to know that whenever you do something yourself, something sticks more. You'll not forget it. But if you go and you look for shortcuts, it is okay. That's why even some of these AI tools are doing to you. Because you want shortcuts, you just can't ask it the answer. It will give you all the answers. You copy and paste, but you have not understood. That's why you forget them quickly. But anything you have put in effort to do this, to make it better, then it can it can help you. So those AI tools should support you, but let them not be your, let them not think for you, whatever thing. So these are the not to do's. This is unethical for you to force people to respond. If someone has refused, leave it and ignore. I want to say that we are going to end at this point with this particular thing. And now I want to let you know that if you do whatever thing we have talked about, maybe under limitations here, you can give the geographical scope under the limitations. What are some of those things that may limit your research? That's where you mention things concerning geographical scope, that maybe I'm going to work within this area of Wakiso and within this community. You can talk about the content scope, that maybe I'm not going to go deeper into this and this. So that is content scope. Those are some of the limitations. What are some of those things that can limit your research? So that is what, yeah. So that is what you put under the limitations. And once you do that, I want to tell you that you'll be very good to go with chapter 3 that concerns methodology. Yeah. So that is what you can put. Under restriction, even you can talk about the research design, the respondent, viability, that maybe I may be limited by not being in position to get some people in this area and the other. So those are some of the things you can have under limitations. Now, why don't you allow me to say that now, whatever thing you have at this point, we have been able to develop our part of the body. The only thing that now we shall talk about is going to be analysis. It will be the next thing we shall talk about. Then the other thing will be the reflection journal. Then what else? Those are the main things that we shall be, and how to present our findings. So those are the main things, but allow me to open something here. Something. Okay. I'm opening something here. I'm going to share my screen. I don't know whether someone has got an answer for our brother, the brother who asked what are they going to do. I want us to propose some solutions for our brother. As I open some document here, I want to share with you. Okay, but let me be responding. In case you have any question you may want to ask, feel free to raise up your hand and then you ask in case there is any question, but let me be going through the chat and I will be responding. The ministry assumes that all of us are taught. That's what the government also knows. Yeah, like I said, sometimes they may judge, but I want to let you know that, guys, everything is in your hands. Do something for yourself. Do not wait for the ministry. Since now you have information about it, use the information to build up what you can write. Use the information available, consult, collaborate, use your friends from other schools to give you. And that's how you will make it. Otherwise, never depend on only your school in the academia field. Even if you are at university or whatever, make sure that you benchmark. What is this school doing? What do they have? Make friends. That's why we always encourage. Let's collaborate. Ask them, what do you have? What did you do this term? What papers did you do? Such that you can get more information. That's when you'll be on an advantage. But if you wait for your school to do for you to do for you everything, no, they may not be in position to fulfill all your desires. So learn to benchmark, learn to use your friends, learn to use the internet, learn to use YouTube. YouTube is a complete school on its own. Those who know how to use it are utilizing it well. Any information you want can be obtained from YouTube as long as you know how to utilize it better. Yeah, even on TikTok, if you know how to utilize TikTok for academic things or for your, even if it is not academic, but for good purpose, maybe for learning a skill or mastering anything, it has good content. But if you don't know how to utilize it, then you'll find yourself misusing it. Okay. The parts of the extended essay, I'm going to show you what is expected in your extended essay. Okay. Okay. Hey, what of the pre-testing, like I've said that when it comes to pre-testing, you just use those questionnaires you have come up with. Last week we looked at questionnaires. I've showed you the interview guide here. I've shown you the observation checklist there. So you come up with those things. Eh, and it is unfortunately that many of you, when you are signing the UNEB thing, you never looked at how many papers GP will have, even sub-math. You need to be very careful because it was indicating something different. What does it mean? It means that you need to start taking it seriously. It may not be as a subsidiary as you, like its weight may not sound as the subsidiary you have been looking at. It may contribute big weight on your academic success. So those who are taking it lightly, please be very careful. I know I think next year or by the end of this year, National Council for Higher Education would have concluded on the weight for each of those subjects. So whatever thing you are doing, take it seriously. Don't take it, that is 1 point, 1 point. I don't know where you got the 1 point, but here, there is nothing like 1 point. That this paper is carrying 1 point, this is 5, and the rest of that. Please do not have those things in your mind. Take every subject you are doing very seriously. Give it a lot of attention. Okay. No, now the person who is asking, the teacher told us to write a place because people have bias. Now, which one is which? Now, you need to know which kind of place are you writing. I've said don't write schools, don't write areas where you have conducted your research. But when you are stating the title, when you are stating the topic, put the location. Say the topic, like I've shown all the things I've showed you the location that I'm working within Wakiso in Uganda, but I've not specified, I've not gone on to specify that in Wakiso I'm going to look at this school, this school, this school. That's what I'm saying. Don't be specific on the where you have collected the data. That's what I'm saying. But let it be general that it's within Wakiso and within, but don't mention the exact area. That's what I'm saying. Saying school X, saying school Y, that one is also okay, but without mentioning the school. How many chapters? The chapters are going to go up to 5. We have stopped on chapter 3. The recording will be available. Yes, those who are asking for the literature review, you will check, I think it was section 3, session 3. That's when we did that. Now, the topical areas, there are 11 topics. Those are the core topics where your project must come from. So observe those 11 topics, the core topics or the core areas that your teacher gave you, and then follow them through. Observe, yes, that can be okay, Sharon. The change of mindset, that is engineer. Those who are saying that our schools are very restrictive, kindly schools are going to adjust. Those things that are very strict, they are not allowing. It is just a matter of communication because here we want children to be able to collaborate with communities. It is always very bad for someone to finish a year without visiting the community, because whatever thing you are studying, you want to solve a community problem. So you need to learn how to interact with the community. So it's just a matter of changing the mindset of schools, because I have been to schools where children every week they have a day, they go, they interact with community members. In case they are learning English, in English they have a topic about market, they'll go to the community, they visit the market. That's how children learn the communication skills. But keeping them in one community, there are some skills that they will not obtain. Skills such as negotiation, acting in community, supporting community, they may not be able. So we need to just change the mindset and support the school administrators to understand how important research is, because at the end of the day, we are preparing children for the world that exists, not the ideal world, because whatever thing they are going to do is what they are going to be finding at their next level. Those things of has 3 points, please, it has not been said anywhere, and don't take it like that. There is nothing like it has these points that is going to be decided on by the National Council for Higher Education. But what I want you to know is that please take every subject seriously. And if you know, even it is not even UNEP to decide the points. That's why anyone who has ever gotten a certificate for A level, you never find them with points. Yes, so it is National Council that will decide at the end of that day. Now, I repeat, now someone who says Wakiso is too huge, what? Now, it depends what are you working on. One, you need to tell us the location, but that one is it Babs? Is it something like that, Babs? It is in the topic. So you will say, under Chengera town. That's what you are going to put, because Chengera town is not a known city or a community. So you are going to specify within your geographical scope. In your geographical scope, you will say that I'm working within Wakiso district, but in Chengera town that is located here and here. That is okay. But mentioning the district and Uganda, those are the main things they know. Anyone who is going to be looking at your research, you know that you conducted in Wakiso and within Uganda. Then the geographical scope, that's where you're going to put your limitations. And the limitation in your methodology, that's where you're going to concentrate and sit down. It's going to be within Chengela Town Council. But you have already told someone Chengela Town Council is in Wakiso. But if someone starts looking for Chengela, there are very many areas within Uganda called Chengela. But Wakiso is one, Wakiso district. But when someone reaches Wakiso, that's when someone should come to Chengera. And also, if you just mention Wakiso, be specific that in Uganda, such that when someone is in Uganda, looks for Wakiso, and within Wakiso, someone can look for Chengera. But once you mention Chengera, you have not mentioned the district and the country, then your research is going to be broad. There are very many areas called Chengera. There are very many areas called Wakiso outside Uganda. Soft copy, hard copy, have both. No, Mike, I'm saying you're mentioning the exact school should not appear in your research. Shouldn't let it not appear in your write-up, but you can have it in your records. Because your research shouldn't be biased. You mentioning the school, if I'm the person reading, I can be biased. That's why even on your, have you ever asked yourself, on your write-up, when you're writing your exam, have you ever put your school anywhere? The reason is to avoid bias. We want people to mark your papers. We want your papers to be marked when they are neutral. Otherwise, you mentioning your school there, it may make someone biased and will start reading your paper, looking at the school in their mind. Yes, you can use FeederDAOs, you can use the free methods. You can use interview, questionnaire, observation, depending on the kind of topic you are dealing with. The time frame, it is for the whole of this year. Term 1, term 2, up to term 3. Yes. Now, those who have just joined us for the first time, check on YouTube. This is, I think, the 6th session we have had. learn from how to generate a topic, research questions, move literature review, how to reference, and the rest of that. So those videos are available. Move from the first video up to where we started in, I think it was April. Yes, April. Yes, interview questionnaire. I think I showed you how it looks like during the session. Conclusion. We have not yet reached the conclusion. The conclusion will be the findings. The findings. That will be the last chapter. Yes, we said that if you are to quote someone, seek permission from that person, and then when you're quoting, you have to use the correct referencing style of AP. And we said that one, you write in italic format, and then you'll put even those quotes. Yeah, that is it, Sharon. Can you use only one method? I advise that depending on the research, but better use 2 methods or more, depending on what you are doing. For you to gain deeper insights into something, better to use more than one method. Interview questionnaire, I think I'll share. Now, they have said, Tony, when it comes to pre-testing, after developing your questionnaires, you have developed this, you give it to people to respond to them, to answer them. Give them to a small group. Let me say 10 people, 5 people, 10 people are good enough. Give them to check out to answer. Then from what they will answer, it will give you a picture that maybe they will comment, you tell them to comment that the questions were very hard, the questions were many, the English was not understandable, this and this. Now that's the kind of feedback. Now the feedback you receive from those people will support you to improve your questionnaire, your questions much better. The YouTube name is Holistic E-Learning Platform. Now, Shalom, to get permission from international people you want to quote, we say that you look out for the research paper. You'll include that person in the quoting. That according to to Shalom 2020, he argued that this and this. That's how we quote those people. But look out for the paper. Look out for the article that person wrote. Look out for the YouTube. Look out for that thing. Where did he say it from? Such that you have evidence that you quoted it from somewhere. So in case it was a YouTube presentation, then you quote it. According to Sharon 2020, he argued that this and this. Then you put it there. Are we supposed to print? Yes, print your work. Yes, quoting is okay. Quoting is okay. Yes, you put the methods under methodology. After interviewing, you are reporting. Reported speech, you are writing. But like I've said, there is what we call a proposal and what we call the final extended essay. Yes, the work will be available on YouTube. The sample of the extended essay, we are still building. We have only reached at chapter 3. And that's why I'm saying that now I want you to first develop your chapter 3. I want you to first develop chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. The moment you finish those ones, then that's when we can proceed to another chapter. Otherwise, we cannot proceed if you don't have that information. Because the next time we come, I want to just be showing you how you are going to sort your data, how you are going to be analyzing, how you are going to do different things. But now that one can only come in after you have finished. Of which now it is showing me that even it may be possible next term. Because very few of you have been able to do it. So I want to just run you through that those who have been following us, we have finished to set up the title page. We finished this section. So I expect that all those people have been doing, you have finished this. I expect that you have finished the topic. The topic was finished. The table of contents, I showed you how to write it. I showed you how to write an introduction or background, how to generate research questions, hypotheses, and objectives. Then we have looked at the body of the essay, what to put in the body. We looked at literature review. We have now looked at methods used to collect the data for the essay. So I've showed you the different methods on how to collect the data. Now how to analyze will be the next section. How the data is going to be analyzed, and then how the data will be analyzed, we shall look at it again. How to analyze the data, that is data analysis, and then the last will be the conclusion, which will be containing the findings. Then maybe in case time allows, we shall also go through how to write a reflection journal, recommendations. Still, this one will come under findings, recommendations after findings. Then I also showed you how to generate references and bibliography. So the things we have not looked at is recommendation, reflection, uh, data analysis or analyzing of data because we have not yet collected it, and then the conclusion. And once we finish those ones, we shall have completed a complete essay, and our words will be within 4,000. Okay, I'm going to pick on three questions. Yes, Ruth? Okay, I'm failing to. Yes, Ruth, sorry. Magdalene, and then not 8. Yes, Ruth?
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
I have a question for the timetable. As in, Kiswahili is not part of it. Kiswahili of A level.
Okay, I'm going to respond. Magdalene?
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
I have a couple of questions. So, our teacher, I see here you have told us title page, then the table of contents. But our teacher also told us to include an abstract,
Now,
whereby
an abstract comes after you have finished the whole research. An abstract is the summary of your research. So it will come in after you have finished everything.
really,
Is that fine?
okay, because
Hey,
he gave us an order, and now that you have said that, it's also okay.
An abstract will contain what you did, how you did it, and what your findings are.
Yes.
So that one will come in at the end of the day. It's like a summary of your academic thing, and it should be within not more than 300 words. It shows you the purpose, the methods, what you obtain from the field, like the results and the conclusion. So once someone looks at the abstract, must be able to understand everything you found out and what you did. Okay, continue.
Then, you said that the words you thought of what this extended essay should be having 4,000 words and above
Maximum.
maximum. But apparently, so far what I've done, I can't lie to you, but they are not reaching 4,000.
No, like because you have not yet completed. Have you finished to analyze data?
Yeah, I finished all that. I even like printed the soft. I have the hard copy with me even right now.
You finished to analyze data? You were
Yeah,
able to discuss, conclude, and make recommendations?
yeah, I was able to do that. Discussion, I have it. Conclusion, even references.
And they are
Because
not. Literature review, how many pages did you have?
literature review, let me see. Actually, literature review is not very big. Actually,
Because
one, two, three, four, five,
le-
six
le-
paragraphs.
now, are you seeing this page only? I'm just using this as an example.
Okay.
Having about 13, 14 pages, those words can be more than 1,000. More than.
Okay.
Are you seeing this page only? These
Yeah.
4 pages. The words here are 416.
Mm.
Now, what you
Mm.
do, come here on
Mm.
your computer. Are you seeing down here?
Yeah.
They should be able to tell you the number of words you have.
Okay.
But there are some things we exclude. We don't put those things of chapter, table of contents. All those things are not counted among the words.
Hey.
Those ones are not counted.
Because Because I heard you say that we should, where possible, in our appendix, we should go ahead and include the sample, maybe
Yes,
questionnaire
all
you
those
used
things are included. Yes, much as you
in
include
the
them
appendix.
they are not counted. That is just evidence that you did the work and what you used. Is that fine?
Can I read for you through? Okay. Okay.
Maybe you'll share,
Because
maybe
I
I'll
chose,
look through.
okay. Because my topic, they gave us various topics. I chose under education, and I also formulated a research question. My research question was, to what extent is online learning as effective as traditional learning in Uganda? That was what I chose. I don't know if it's a strong research question. I don't know. I'll maybe see.
Okay,
That's what
maybe
I.
you'll share, I'll look at it.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Note 8.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Thank you so much. My question, it is at the beginning of this project where you talked of research, that we write our questions that are the questions that we are going to forward to the people in the community. And sometimes we find the problem of language barrier. For example, when the people I'm going to ask in the community do not understand English so much, now the question is, can I include or can I write those questions in the language which they understand, so that when I finish my research, I turn or I translate in English?
Perfectly.
Yeah.
You translate them. Let them use their English, Luganda, and then just come, use the Google Translator to support you in case you can't, and then everything will be solved.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. ITEL.
Yes, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
So I've just joined today, but I have some few questions. The first one, about the table of content. Our teacher told us that you can even write the table of content after you finished everything. And
now, a table of content is a continuation. You keep building it as you continue working.
so what you do is what you put in the table of content.
Yes. You finish this, you put there. You finish this, you put like that.
And another thing, like what's the maximum number of research questions? Because you've said we should use few research questions.
Now, research questions, 3 are enough for your level. Don't go beyond 3.
Okay.
As long as they are simple, clear.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay. And so, Magdalene?
Yes, teacher. Again, I'd like to inquire, sorry. In data analysis, when you talked about is it qualitative, where we have to insert graphs and pie charts? Would it be also okay, because if you can apply like both graph and also pie chart? Because I see here in line, I applied both. I put a table, then possible where one needed a graph, I put, then where one needed a pie chart, I also put.
Yeah,
Then
it is okay.
in the part of, is it qualitative, where we would have to include interview themes? Me personally, what I didn't like, I extracted just various themes and then maybe explained those themes down. I didn't like say maybe this theme I got it from this maybe this conversation between this one and this one, because I literally just summarized and let me read it here as I wrote. Like maybe from interviews conducted with students and teachers, I maybe obtained 3 key themes that were emergent. Maybe theme 1, lack of this and this, poor this and that. Would that be okay?
Now, that one should supplement your quantitative data. That when you are explaining the quantitative data, your argument, your justification for something from what you are finding from the ground should be supported by some of that qualitative data you obtained. That in case you went on, I don't know what you are working on, whatever thing you are working on, you obtain that quantitative data. But in explaining, in discussing the quantitative data, the explanation should be backed up by the qualitative bit of it.
What maybe participation of students online.
Now, if it is participation of students online, whatever thing, but now you need to be mindful of the language. Use learners, because students are no longer used in the curriculum we are working on. We use learners. That participation of learners in the what? In the thing. Then find out how many students participated something. I don't know, whatever thing you are carrying out. That maybe 50 students participated in this. However, from the interview, the head teacher or this person says and this said that what is limiting the participation, the full participation is this and this. But here you have the percentage that 50%, only 50% of the people are able to participate online. But one of the things that is rising from the interview connected was that many of these students don't have the gadgets, much such they might be willing to participate.
Yeah. Then is it okay if you could kindly maybe read for me your email? Then I send you my rough copy and the final copy I've done so that you can guide me through, please.
Now. Okay, now I'm going to put it in the chat there. Now, what we do always, like I've told you, we shall be testing your work. Now, once you send your work, we run what we call a plagiarism test to check how original is this work you have done. Has someone ever done it? Are you copying and pasting someone's work? So that is the first thing we always do. So before I look through someone's work, that is the first thing that I always do. Before I look through to check out this and this, yes. And like you need to ensure that the AI content, I need to, that the AI content anyone is coming up with, it should be. I want to just show you a sample here. Let me say, now, whatever you are seeing here, this is just a sample of some of the things I run. Like when children send me the work, I always look at the AI content. In case your AI content is beyond 20, then you have to repeat. You have to remove all those. But 4 is okay, 18 is okay, 33 is bad. 20% you are narrowly surviving. 33 is what? Is bad. So we shall be checking what AI, has this person just pasted someone's work and brought it here or not. So you need to be very careful as you use those tools. But I know in one of these days, in case time allows, I'll take you through how to use AI ethically for your research in case time allows. So you can send on that email I've sent in the chat. Okay. Then Regan.
Yes. Good afternoon, teacher.
Good afternoon.
I wanted to inquire about that section for the analysis. I am doing a case study on the rise of unemployment in my home area. So I wanted to know how best I can analyze that, because I have made some little research to find out what are the causes and how and how is unemployment also affecting these people. But I don't know how I can present the work under the part for the analysis. Like, could you just guide me on that?
Did you have objectives for your study?
Yes, I did.
Did you have the IV and the DV?
No, I was not told about that.
Because now for anything, for you to analyze, you analyze the independent variable and the dependent variable. What is
Oh,
causing the unemployment is what you have to analyze. And the effect of unemployment.
mm,
So now you need to, your topic, because you have already mentioned unemployment, you know the problem already, that people in your area are unemployed. So there is no problem you are solving. You already know they're unemployed. So meaning that your
yes.
topic is biased.
Mm,
Remember, research is aiming at investigating what is happening and what solution can I find. So you just mentioning unemployment, it shows that you have a biased topic. So your topic should be neutral to support you to investigate further what is happening. So it could be in the line of socio-economic status and something that you are aiming at. I don't know if you're getting the idea.
yes, I am picking you. So I
Eh,
basically can't use the rise of unemployment in
Because you know the problem already that the people are unemployed, that there is a rise. So what are you going to find out if you know it already?
me. Okay, I presented this work like to my teacher, and she said that it is basically fine. Now she said that my findings are going to be on the causes, the effects, and then I am going to come up with some of the solutions through
Now,
maybe
the
yes.
cause of something is what forms your independent variable.
Mm,
Then the effect is what forms your dependent variable. But if you mention, you say that the rising cause of unemployment, it means that you know already the problem. There is nothing, you know that already people in my area are unemployed. There is nothing why you go on and do the research if you know it already. Research is aiming at investigating what is happening in the community. Why are people unemployed?
mm,
So you need to find out. And then even when you look at unemployment, there are very many things in it. So I will advise that first have your topic stated in a neutral way, in an investigative format, other
mm,
than a conclusive format.
okay.
Yeah. That's why now you're finding it hard to analyze because you did not specify what your IV and DV is. Because in that analysis, your variables must come out clearly. That's why at O level, you were introduced to these variables early in physics, in biology, in chemistry, such that at A level, you apply now what you learned.
Mm, okay.
Yeah.
And I am requesting if you could just show me some of the topics that I can put under my problem statement. Just
Now
inspire
that
me.
one, I'm going to advise that you are going to watch those recordings because we have moved from how to generate a topic, how to put in the problem statement. Because your problem statement, you must have the ideal part, the real part, the effect, and the significance.
Okay.
Because you must know what's really happening and what would have happened or what should happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm, okay. Is it mathy something like that? Is it mathy? Unmute.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Like you had said, the research questions will be maximum theory, but me, I'm doing a research on my core topic is education, and then my research topic is the relevance of science subjects. But then my guiding research questions, I divided them according to theme, and the first theme is societal impact and digital relevance. That was having 7 research questions. And then the theme 2 was equity and inclusion, which was having 3 questions, making a total of 10. I don't know if it is fine.
Now, those things you are talking about, they are so broad. You may not be in position to make any investigation. Just talking about equity, that is something very broad. At this level, you need to look at something very small within education context. It can be in terms of ICT, that's enough. In case you are looking at gender, that's enough. Having 10 research questions, it means you must be able to give response to 10 research questions that even someone at PhD level is not allowed to do. The highest degree someone can attain. So 10 is a lot. Make sure that you reduce them to a maximum of 3 because you are not going to have time to go on and have response and respond to each of those ones. So you make your scope very, very small.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah, but I will advise that you review the recording. And also I want you to look at the research things that your teachers gave you, the research papers in senior 5, and look at those topics the way they were stated. When you talk about, now you talked about education and something. Education is also something very broad. You need to just speak out. Are you looking at things concerning skills? Are you looking at things concerning curriculum? Are you looking at things concerning assessment? So you just look out for something small. Because when yes?
I've chosen the relevance of science subjects as my research topic.
Now, still when you say relevance of this, you have not specified what your IV and DV is. Because this one should be an investigative thing, but relevance is not investigative at nature, and that is one-sided. Relevance of something. Why something is important, you are looking at only one side. And research should not be one-sided. It should be neutral in form.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
So you check out how you can now frame your thing, but always make sure that your IV and DV come out clearly, because that's what is going to help you in analyzing data. Otherwise, if your research is already one-sided, it means that you are going to come up with a conclusion. Yeah.
Okay, sir.
I'm seeing Anzoa.
Teacher,
Yes.
I'm seeing you rejecting many people's research questions, and now I'm having some doubts on mine. Among the topics I selected education, all right? And what I'm exactly researching about is to what extent is online learning as effective as traditional learning in Uganda? I don't know. Should I even specify a region, like let's say maybe Western Uganda or a district? Is that what?
Exactly, because your research should tell us where are you conducting this research from, which country.
Okay.
Then when you mention area, those are core topics. But within those core topics, you choose something you want to work on. Within
Pardon?
the education, like we have 11 core topics.
Yeah,
Where
I see.
yes, 10 core topics or areas. Now, those areas that you are given, you must choose something from those areas. It can be about social issues. Even when you look at social issues, it's something very big. There is hygiene, mental health, drugs, and the rest. Those are huge things. So you just choose a small bit from social issues. When you talk about culture, choose something from culture. When you choose education, you can decide that I'm going to look at assessment. I'm going to look at curriculum. I'm going to look about career development. I'm going to look at this learning. Then you look out, there is human rights, There is economics, globalization, agriculture, science and technology, historical perspective, political and governance. So just choose out something from that.
Teacher, first
Yes.
sample me this topic of social issues, then bring out for me mental health. Just a
I have
sample.
already, the one we have been dealing with already has come out. I told you about substance use and mental being of learners. A
Okay.
case of selected schools in Wakiso district, Uganda.
Okay.
That is my topic.
All right.
It is
Thank
neutral. It's looking at the cause, that one of the things that is causing mental health issues is substance use among learners. And what is the effect? It is affecting their mental well-being. But even still, when I look at substance use, I'm going to look out for some things within substance. Under mental well-being, I'm going to look at some few factors, because also mental health is something very big. I cannot finish everything.
It is okay. Ma'am,
Hmm.
thank you so much.
Okay. Yes, Rashid.
Uh, yes. I remember I raised a question before. My name was Techno before, but now I fix it to Rashid as my real name. Uh, you said you will answer my question at the end of the session, and I realize you have not answered my question that I raised before. And then additional question is uh, other than other than other than other than other than getting other than not getting a topic of like a point like a point like a recharge, and then getting enough like bulky or something so broad. Don't you think getting something so broad is also okay? It's also a part of advancing one knowledge. That is my question. And then how are you going to help us in case there's a time limit? If there's the time is the time limit us at the process of the recharge, how will us be helped? Because recharge is not a 1 day kind of thing. You do it today, one is also corrected tomorrow, like that until the end.
Now,
So in case we are caught up
one,
with time, how will us be helped? Thank you.
okay, now one, of what importance is it for you to have a full bunch of maybe matoke and it rots from your house when you have not completed
Manji?
putting it? I repeat, of what value?
Usoko esa.
Because what is going to happen that it is okay, you can advance your knowledge. But if what you want to advance, you have failed to provide a solution, then you have wasted your time. In research, we are looking at you being able to provide a solution. Now, if for you decide to look at something very broad and at the end of the day you fail to come up with a solution, then you have not come up with anything. That's why we want you to focus on something small. Then that something small is what you need to use to provide solution to people. So concentrate on a small area. In case children in your area are struggling with mental health issues, find out what is causing it. That maybe it is substance. How is it affecting them? That maybe some have started to drop out of school. How can we solve it? Now that's what we want from your whatever thing you are going to come up with, that you have identified that members in my community are struggling. Even it can be within the schools around your region, that what is happening in my that schools around my region are failing science subjects. But what is causing it? Maybe infrastructure facilities. Then you'll go on and you start investigating which infrastructure facilities are these people having, that may be laboratory, what, and what effect it is having an effect here. Now look at something, don't look at something very big. Even at the highest level of learning, at PhD level, you need always to have your research focused within a smaller or small area. Otherwise, whenever it is very big, it's like having a very big cake and you start now picking a piece from here, from this side, from this side. At the end of the day, you not finish the cake and you not have provided a solution. At the end of the day, we shall ask, did you finish the cake? Yes or no? So your research must respond to a solution and give a solution to a problem within the community. Number two, there is something called the Parkinson's law. And Parkinson's law will tell you that it will tell you that if you give a human being 5 hours to complete a task, a human being will complete it. If you give him 1 year, still this person will set his mind for a full year to complete an activity. Now, it is just a matter of setting your mind that I have up to June to complete this work. So you have to improvise and do all what it takes within your means to have that work completed. Otherwise, if you keep on postponing, your mind will keep on postponing. But if you give yourself a limit, you say that now I have up to this month to do my work, your brain will look out for a solution for it and you'll be able to complete it. But the problem is that for you are giving yourself a lot of time, you are telling yourself that things are not possible, that things are hard. It's just a matter of setting your mind that this is what I have. At the end of the day, they will ask, what will be asked is that this and this. And remember, I told you this is practical work. Once the teachers have supported you with something, go an extra mile. I've told that YouTube is already a solution. Now that you have accessed the phone from your friend, from your neighbor, utilize your friend very well. Work with him, go to YouTube, study and learn. The rest will be history. Yeah. Yes. Okay, note 8. Okay, I failed to get what 8. So thank you so much for attending. We shall continue.
Yeah. Excuse me.
Yes, please.
I have arrived. Teachers, thank you so much for this opportunity. My last question is all about the body. So after making my research, am I allowed to indicate the same statement which I have got from someone in the community when I'm doing my research? Then the second question is, am I even allowed, for example, when I'm handling a topic of poverty or unemployment, to insert like a picture that show unemployment in the community, just to make it true or to make it clear? Thank you so much.
I repeat, like I've been saying, don't attach any picture in your report. That is what I've been saying. If you have been listening to me, that was one thing.
Okay.
Then number two, the other question was what? The other question, I think it was about quoting someone. Yes, you can quote someone. Maybe Mr. So and so said this, but you may not put the full name in case someone did not authorize you to do so. But also when you are quoting, you need to know how we reference such. That's why there is a video we had, there is a session we had that concentrated on referencing. There are about 14 ways to reference depending on the scenario. Yes. So you need to know how you are going to put that. You are supposed to put it in italic. You must have it in quotes like that.
Okay.
Then, like you have mentioned poverty, you have mentioned unemployment, but I've said that, I want to say that those things already are biased. You know, people are poor. What are you going to investigate if you know already the problem that they are poor? What are you investigating in there?
Situation.
Yes. So you just need to look at socio-economic status. You state it positively. Don't use biased what? Statements. Poor is a very bad word. Don't never even use it anywhere. That poor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then, excuse me, sir. Our teacher
Yes.
told us that using difficult words in an extended essay is not allowed. Is it true or not? For example, we use soft English so that each and everybody can understand.
That's what I said at the start, that let your things be clear and simple. There is no importance why someone uses complicated language. Use language that people can understand. But more so, it should be academic language, not those things of yours, hi, hello, what. It should be academic language that is easy to
Language.
understand.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Matt, you are
Thank
the
you, sir.
last. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Like I'd chosen a research topic, the relevance of science subject, and he told me it has no IV and DV. So what if I use
Validity.
to what extent are science subjects important to the socio-economic prospects of Uganda? Will that work?
Now, that one is a research question, not a topic.
Yeah, a research question, yeah.
That is a research question, not a topic. Number two, your research question must still, even the way you are stating it, it must have two clearly defined variables in it. Let your research IV and DV come out clearly. But I recommend that if you could watch the video where we looked at research questions, it will guide you better, such that you don't get challenges when it comes to data analysis. Otherwise, those
Are they
research
on
questions,
YouTube?
yes? Yes, everything
Are
is
they there on
available.
YouTube?
Yes, there is a
Okay.
playlist. You'll know now how
Thank
to move from one step to another. Those questions of to what extent, that is okay. That's okay. But also you look at what we call the questioning technique. But at the end of the day, remember, we are preparing you, or whatever thing you are doing, you are planning for university. One research question or one question cannot solve all your problem, cannot solve the problem at hand. But having many, two or three, can help you to dig deeper into the problem. You just knowing what is this or to what extent this is does not solve all the problems. But your problems should be anchored into the problem you want to solve, which must be clearly defined by the independent variable and the dependent variable.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Yes, I think thank you so much, everyone. I will let you know when we shall meet, but the next time we shall meet, we shall be looking at the data analysis. But I feel also when time allows, we shall look at the reflective journal. And then I'll ask you that since I know the things might be challenging next year, you are going to join universities. This is the best time to learn some of these things. This is the best time to acquire some of the gadgets, to get a laptop, to get a phone that you are going to be using, and to start learning those gadgets. At university, you may not have that opportunity to learn things. So better start learning them as early as possible. In case there is a computer lab at school, make sure you utilize it very well. You learn how to type, how to use different programs. Those gadgets you have, use them very well to acquire these skills. The earlier, the better. And also, I want us to have a change in the mindset that you are not only looking at exams, but ask yourself, how will this skill be relevant in the future? Whatever thing you are learning now, it's going to be relevant. In the future, some of you are going to be setting up business. But as you go into any business, anything you want to venture, any entrepreneur venture, you need always to identify a problem in society. You need to set out good objectives for your business. You need to have research questions. What problems are you solving? You need to make literature review to ask yourself that this person has ever done this business, what happens? This person has ever done this, what happened? You must gather information, collect information from data. You must make observation. Many times before you go on to buy something from a given shop, you always have to first observe Are people buying from that shop? Does that shop have these things I need? That is the observation checklist you are doing. And in case it has, you tick and you go to buy. Yes. So before you, then sometimes you interview. When you find people after buying from there, you will ask them, are the products from that shop good? That is interviewing to get more data. Yes. Now, whatever thing you are doing is applied in real life. So utilize it. It will give you a sense of establishing a business. It will give you a sense of setting up and solving problems in society. Otherwise, if you don't do it now, the future will be limited. That's why now you see that we have very many people who are graduating, but they don't have what to do because they lack some of those skills. But someone who has graduated with these skills, he will be able to look at the environment, ask himself, what problem are my committee members facing? That is this. Then the person can come up with a solution. All the TikTok we are using, it was because a problem was happening. There was a problem. So someone solved it by creating that app. That because this person looked at the attention span of people, that the attention span is very low. People always want quick answers. People always want quick things. Then say, hey, now this is a problem. Now, which solution can I offer? Let me create an app that can study, that can give short videos and people enjoy, that can read people's algorithm. And now the person created it. Now, those are some of the things you need to look out for. So that's how we create solutions. And at the end of the day, you'll earn from what you have created. So anyone, if you come up with a good project, I want to assure you that your project will yield income at the end of the day. But if you just come up that I want to do for the case, then you may find challenges and it will not help you at the end of the day. And I always advise, go for things that you are passionate about. In case you are passionate about health, go in for that. In case you are passionate about education, go in for that. Passionate about agriculture, check out something within your field such that you can do it passionately and then you can be able to build up from there. You want to be a farmer, look out for things within agriculture. You want economics, do things within that. You want these things of politics, do things within that field. Then people, that will be good for you. Then I also encourage you that revise journals. Look out for journals. Look out for the articles. Then those ones will help you. Like those who have just joined us for the first time, I told you that as you come up with these research things, I want you to go always and say whatever topic. Now those people were asking for the different topics and what. I want you to always come to Google. Here, check out for what we call Google Scholar. Google Scholar, click on it and then check out what are you working on. There is a girl I want. I don't remember that girl. Was it Magdalene? Is it you, Magdalene? First unmute a
Yes.
bit. What was your
Yes, sir.
topic? Give me your topic.
Education, to what extent is online learning as effective as traditional learning in Uganda?
Okay. You are looking at online learning, something like that, and education. So you come here,
Yeah.
then you research about it. So here you get different articles, different papers about online what? Learning. And then and now like we have seen, you'll check here. And I want you to be very careful when you are stating, there is something called a research paper and an article and what we call your extended essay. So you'll come here, search about this is 2026, you'll come here and then you read about those things. Then you read about this article. Then this one should give you a view how your extended essay should look like. But like I said, abstract comes at the end. Now these are some of the things people have written. Then you'll get a clear picture. You'll get a clear picture how your literature review should look like, what things should look like. And for any repeatable article that has been published, but also no, but allow me that to let you that you go to those some of those videos, you will check out how even to check out which reputable papers, which research things you need to look out for. Yeah, because not all website will give you good information. Look out for the website that will give you. So this is how your thing is going to look like. But this one, yes, yeah, something like that. But like I said, always avoid, for your case, don't use some words like influence and the rest of that. That will be good for you. Yeah. Okay. Now Rashid. Okay, ask. So Magdalene, I expect you now to look out for some of those sources. And then, yeah. Yes,
Sorry if I
Rashid.
don't get tired of me, the learning process. Sorry.
Okay.
Now, yeah, my topic is that I did the research and I've analyzed. I have about 10 plus pages. Then after finding all the points, I realized my teacher told me that the topic is bias. Like the topic is bias, and the topic is causes of domestic violence. Uh, causes of domestic violence. Uh, how to mitigate it, and the way forward. That is the topic that I pick. So I don't know how you're going to help me in it, and so that I can pop up and also uh, able to get a good kind of topic. Actually, is it a good topic or not? Because
Yes,
I
like I
struggle
think
to
your
get the point
teachers
already.
told you it is biased, but I'm going to now refer you here. Are you seeing here? Come look for playlists. Then look out for individual projects. The playlist is here. You are saying, eh?
Yes.
Then you start from the
Yes.
first one. Check out, this was the first one where we are looking at topic, we looked at research questions, we went on, then review all these videos. They will support you to know what to do.
Okay.
And then you'll be even now to know whether your topic is good or bad.
Okay, sir.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a lovely afternoon. You may send me some of your work. In case time allows, I'll be able to look at it and then I'll be able to give you feedback. But yeah, let's push, put in
I'll
the
send,
effort.
send mine
Things
through
will
email.
work out at the end of the day.
Yes.
Have a
I'll send mine
beautiful
through email. Thank you.